All right, decent show today. We will see everybody back here at 2 p.m. Until then, let's go over to the midday show. Ciao.
Get them, boys.
El Bambino. Oh, what's going on? Where's our bumper, Fabian? We want, there's got to be squats and weights and all that stuff. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. He is Joey frickin' Options, and I'm Sharif. And we got a couple of new joiners right off the bat right there. Shout out to my man up top there, Hussein. Shout out to Yangon, Mintar, 2 new Trader TV Live members. Thank you for joining us. Shout out to the OGs who are all putting their greetings in the chat. Uplift Markets. We got Dean Allen, Dark Skirk, and we got Derek Thompson and Blue Arrow, MF Dangerous, Katina Man, he's joining us, as well as Meg Raj and Nelly Ololol, Mike P.D. Righto, we got Pitchbull, we got Saul, we got Emil, that's my uncle's name, man. Damien, we got Machiavelli, of course, nerd affiliate, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck, bro, your movies, not so good. I get a response out of you. Front Porch Trader, Grandmother's Garden, like that name, Trader Gibby. Shout out to Wyatt. Shout out to, who else, man? We got Johnny, we got Jacques, we got Alan, we got Boosted Red Spot. Okay, I know about the orange spot on Jupiter, but I don't know about the red spot. You got to tell me about that one. We got John Zuver, Jay Koinge, Peter. Shout out to Mr. Jets fan. Neil will probably be a very good friend of yours because you guys had their number for a while. Ichiro. Who else, man? We got Cubes, Mr. Sloth, and one more. We're going to look for a new one here. We got Toby. Toby, I haven't seen that name in the chat before. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to you, Joseph.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, let's dive right into it. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Thursday. A little bit of a trickier one. I mean, we had some solid opportunities here throughout the day.
I know.
And then we just didn't take advantage of them. We were posted up on multiple names, and we just couldn't catch any fills. So slightly red on the session, but, I mean, we're only a third down our shutdown, so that's small potatoes. That's literally one trade away. But let's get right into it. Now, as for Bitcoin, guys, we caught a couple of longs off of it, risking, once again, only about 10 cents or so. And as soon as, so you can see that I'm in at 82s. 85 was going to be the ideal number, and then we take some off right there at a 1.5 to 1. We only take about 10-20% off, and then it comes back to our break even. Same thing right here. We're in at 50 10s. We're risking only until 50s, and then we wait to that 2 to 1, a little bit more than that, and then sure enough, boom, we take 10% off, it comes back against us, and then we try it one more time, and then we got stopped out there. So didn't work, and we were holding the majority of our position to make any of this size that we took off relevant, because it is not. Now, as for NFLX, guys, got our eyes on this one as well, too. We attempted one short on it. This was a nice signal up here, and I was thinking, okay, a beautiful indecision print right at the volume weight, above the volume weighted average price. Let's see if we can get it moved back into VWAP. That's going to send us right into target. Perfect, but you can just see how tight these stops are, guys. 10 cents, and then that's it. A little bit even less. So 95.10, and we're out at 95.19. So as soon as I seen that candle really start to engulf that range, I'm like, all right, let's get out of this and be patient and wait for something else. MU, I was bidding 247. It comes in, doesn't fill me, not a priority, bounces off of it, and then climbs $7 higher. And I'm like, what's going on, man? But no, aside from that, guys, we're going to be sitting on our hands. We're going to be patient and try not to get frustrated. It is Thursday. It's been a pretty good week so far. So we're going to relax and wait for those levels to come into what we want. And I think that's something that has really, really worked for me as of late. I post up. I wait for the market to come and fill me. Zero chase. We don't chase anything around these neck of the woods.
I like it, Joey. I like it. You got that that good anger in you today. I like it. I like it. Very good. Thank you, Fabian.
I wouldn't call it good. Yeah, thanks. Look, 5 minutes late.
Committed. Yeah. Committed attitude. I do appreciate it.
Literally yesterday, so I was green, red, and then at the end of the day, I climbed back to green. But it was definitely a battle. That MDLN, I didn't perform as well as my peers did. But that's okay. I'm glad that everyone had a fantastic trade on that. But then we bounced back as well too, and I was happy. We'll go over those trades later because they didn't get to see them, and I documented them. Let's get a poll. Sorry, one more thing, Shree.
Yeah, do your thing, bro.
Let's get a poll up here, Fabian. Are you ready for this? You ready? Are you listening? Do you review your trades after the market? Yes or no? Let's get that poll up there.
Keep it. Ram. Come on now, bro.
What did Ram say?
Ram's like, no. Well, because
yeah, that's a poll. That's a poll. Yeah.
She's punching into Rivian most of the time.
Well,
that's why.
Yeah, no, she's a long-term. We're talking about the intraday boys.
We're talking about the intraday.
Yeah, and gals, obviously. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, let's party. Let's see if we can. I don't know why I keep saying that, man. I got it in Tulum mode. But yeah, let's get that poll up, baby. If we can,
you're ready to go, eh? You're already on vacation mode, my guy.
Let's have fun.
All right, let's get to work, baby. We've got a bunch of small cap gappers. As you can see, I'm already involved in a couple. Donald John Trump. You're going to be hearing that a lot today. Oh, man. For all those who don't like him, it's going to be a great day for you guys today. So we're already involved in DJT. So long as this one is running, Fabian, we're going to continue to trade it. This one is showing 22s. What do we got here, Joey? We got 23s. We're break even on the name. We're trying to build the position into the 20. VWAP at 13 2/3. The 20 EMA, 14. The 10 EMA, exactly where we are right now. That's trade number one. Trade number two, we're working into our position here on F-Cell. A prolonged bull flag we've got here on the sell. Basically, the breakout coming out at 9:30 since that time. Yeah, we're putting in some higher lows, but it's mostly consolidation central. As you can see, those successive troughs all higher than their predecessors. So we're keeping a close eye on that. But there is a lot going on. It's not just Donald. It's not just fuel cell. Let's talk about NUAI, a holdover from yesterday, respectful of VWAP, trying to bounce above that or stay above that level. That's top left of your screen. We got MENS, MENS, coming into VWAP, many lower highs ever since that 1025 pop and drop. We got SOC. This looks to be the biggest and the baddest right now in the world of small cap gappers. It got a big boy breakout at 525 in the aftermarket yesterday. The degens like myself love small cap trading in the aftermarket, in the pre-market as a result of this. No volatility halt parameters. This great stock, and I say that facetiously, 5 1/4 it closed out at 4 o'clock, and it rocketed up in one 5-minute candle to 789 area halt. Reason is no volatility halt parameters in the pre or the post. Alas, we took out, barely though, yesterday's aftermarket high. This morning during regular trading hours, that 1045 candle takes us to that 947 high. It is holding 9. It is trending up. The higher lows are operative here. Let's see if we can get that 9.5 break. We're going to be setting up here on SOC. But I'm also keeping an eye on ATHA. This one was the big pre-market mover. Got its spike at 7 a.m. And then all hell broke loose to the high side. Alas, we are kind of trying to hold that volume weighted average price. In fact, it kind of looks like VWAP here is resistance, trading at 7 1/3. We're at 7 1/5. Let's get back above that. And we also got to break this umpteen lower high. 1, 2, 3. We've got that downtrend right now. We got to break through that. Look for the break of that trend line and a breakout to the high side. Dawn, DAWN, big breakout as well, right at 9:30. Giving up a bit of the move, 1047 high, lower highs into VWAP, trying to hold 10. We're going to keep an eye out on that one. And then last but not least, PCT, post-cycle therapy. Come on, bro. You didn't get that one, PCT?
Got that. Yeah, well, I mean,
come on, my guy. I thought I'd get a reaction out of you.
Well, as soon as you said it, I'm like, did this guy actually just say that?
Of course I did.
I'm like, all right,
PCT.
Man.
Come on now. It's coming down aggressively into 860 Joey options, and 860 is the volume weighted average price. So we're gonna have to keep an eye out on that one. We're gonna weasel in here at 860 if it's warranted, Joey.
All right, good stuff, man. All right, we're going to inverse here on Tesla. We're going to see if we can get a move. We're giving it 10 cents. You can see we're at 10.15s. We're out at 10.05s. If this breaks the top up, Tesla's been on an absolute monster run. Shorting the stronger stock today may not be the best idea, but I feel like we're kind of toppy right now. We moved up pretty quick. If we get stopped out, then so be it. We'll have to sit on our hands for a little bit. At that point, we'll be down roughly half our shutdown, which is fine. We can totally climb back from that. It's been a pretty solid week so far. Adara, what do you have for us?
I have some news from NVIDIA. NVIDIA announcing via its blog that the RTX Pro 5000 72GB Blackwell GPU is now generally available. So one of these Blackwell GPUs, specifically 72GB, is now available according to NVIDIA's blog. Not too much of a move. Just be aware this is occurring as we send you back to Sharif and Joe.
Wow. Like, wow, did you ever play Super Smash Bros. Back in the day? Really? Oh, okay, I thought that...
I played Double Dragon. Does that count?
Double Dragon?
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Super Smash Bros.
Sega Master
goated
System, baby.
Yeah, the goated game. I think that's probably still one of the best games on the planet. Super Smash Bros. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It is absolutely.
What did Fabian say?
He said it's timeless. Like that song from
Weekend.
He's asked if you can hear him. You tapped into you. Ooh.
Totally forgot.
Ooh.
Thank you very much.
That's why we got you covered.
That I forget.
I was Kirby. That's the thing. I was Kirby, and everybody couldn't stand playing
against me. You remember Kirby Puckett?
No.
You don't, huh?
No.
Okay.
Sounds familiar.
Minnesota Twin.
Also, production is in on the show now, too.
Though, but yeah,
oh, really? Oh, that is
so
disastrous.
what you're hearing right now is on the show.
All right, guys. There goes
Hello,
Tesla
world.
putting in a new high of the day. We might get stopped out here at 10:05 on TSLZ as Tesla continues to grind higher. Yesterday, you couldn't find a buyer. Today, you're not finding any form of a seller, so a solid recovery. Yeah, bipolar market almost at this point. One day you're up, the next day you're down, and the next day you're up as well too. So let's see if we can navigate this, be a little bit more patient, and wait for those key levels to come in, and maybe just go with the flow, and that's going to be to the long side here, guys.
All right, guys, we're working into the positions here. 3 positions: SOC, FSL, and DJT. We just got into SOC, looking for a hold of the 10 EMA. What do we got? Hey, man. Feels like inauguration day all over again.
That's crazy.
It's, January, what day does he get inaugurated? January 19th or something like that? Anyway, here we go. So keep an eye on SOC. We're looking for the break of that 947. We're trying to work into the position. Dip trade here at 9s to defend $9. Donald John Trump, you're disappointing me, Donald. It's not good here, Donald. Let's go. We need to hold. We need to hold some higher highs and higher lows. I'm looking for a 14.25 break. That's prior bar high. That's prior bar high on that 14.25. It's dropping down into the 20 EMA. If it doesn't hold 14, I'm going to stop out, and then we'll look to trade something else or to set up a little bit differently on this one. Higher lows, I got to give you the prior area trough. Prior area trough is in the VWAP. That's the candle at 10.15, the low of which is 13.39. VWAP, though, a little bit higher than that on DJT. It's about 13 2/3. So let's see if this one wants to bounce up, catch a bit of a bid. We got 18s on right now. It's showing me 14, so we're a little bit out of the money, okay? So, but we're going to see what we can do on this one. There goes SOC to the high side. Good breakout here. This one looks to be the baddest of them all in the market. I'm trying to get more. We got a couple of beak wetters. Next print here, we're waiting for it at 33, showing me 28s. Let's go ahead and wait a little bit higher here. We're going to wait in the high 37s. How's FSL doing? Did we get that dip trade? The answer is yes. Position boards out, looking for 1060. We got 1061.5. It's showing me 1063s right now. Let's go ahead and post some up there near the high end of the range at 69. We're also going to wait at 75. See if we can get that bump on there. I'm also interested in dropping a trade here on PCT. Just talked about post-cycle therapy here, dropping into the volume-weighted average price into 860, double bottom there. Let's give this one the old college try. It loses 860. It loses me as a trader. Let's go and throw. 858, we'll put that as the stop. And then we'll put some profit takers possibly here at 77s, and then let's layer into the mid-80s as well, Joey. So 4 trades on at the moment, keeping an eye on all of them, looking for continuation. On FSL, that one is breaking down now, though, into the volume-weighted average price. I have to give this one room. Reason is, take a look at the 5-minute chart and the candle at 10. It breaches VWAP only to close decidedly above it. So that's what I want to keep my eye out for. Are there, habitual breaches of a technical level on a wick basis only to end up closing above that level? So that's one thing I'm going to keep my eye closely on here. FCEL. What do we have for FCEL here? For FCEL, we got 61, so we're a little out of the money here, Joey, as it's dropping down into 50. So I'm going to send it to you, my friend. Let me know what you're looking at.
All right, cool. Yeah, I was just thinking about taking a short on the TQs, but that momentum to the downside was pretty quick. There it is, guys. A nice indecision. Got to get one of those back straighteners things there. So there it is, that indecision right at that. Yeah, exactly. Make sure you check me on that, please, and thank you. So as for that, I was thinking about 52.37s because you only have to risk until 47s. I'd give you 10 cents at the breach of the high of the day, and then you get this strong momentum to the downside. So let's see if Tesla wants to pick up. My issue here is that the way I'm looking at this price action right now, it's a grinding bid. So I am not really in love with this. So you can see that the market is taking aggressive moves down. You run right into support, it's bought right back up. So it might be one of those trades that you have to wait until later in the day. And I'm trading TSLZ, so I'm going to need a pretty big move to the downside here in Tesla in order to even hit that target. If we're looking at a 2-to-1, I'm risking 10 cents, which would be putting us at a 10.05. I need to wait until 35s, which is all the way up here, which is really tough. So there it is, guys. Like, this is what I'm talking about. You head right into the support, bang, right away, immediately bought right back up. So it's going to be one attempt on the short. I'm not going to fight this whatsoever. If we get stopped out, we get stopped out. If it does happen to volume step in and it just blows the top out, maybe we'll get a little bit out. We'll get out a little bit prematurely, and that's totally fine. We'll sit on our hands and wait for some quality opportunities because the ebbs and the flows in the market, I'm liking a lot. There's going to be really good quality opportunities throughout the intraday session there, guys.
Okay. Keeping an eye on DJT still. Nothing's changed from when last we spoke. Looking for that hold at 14. It's been a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles of lower highs, saving except for one doji candle, which ended up breaching that trend. But I'm gonna keep my eye on that $14 level. It's a 20 EMA. It's not like it has a lot of support there, but that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Guys, I know you guys are tagging me to look at all these small cap gappers. I can't trade 4 names and look at all those ones, so I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to forego those ones at the moment and focus with the ones that I'm on. FCEL dropping into VWAP, looking for the hold here, which is at 1030. Alas, we're still showing 48s, so not a bad look there. SOC bumping up. We get the print at 18s, looking for the continuation into 20s. Not a bad look. How's PCT doing? Showing me 77s. What do we got? 79 now. There we go. Bumping up nicely here on PCT. There's 82s. Let's put some more profit takers. We're going to go a little bit higher into 89s as well. Good trade there. That one continues to run, but it's really FCEL and DJT that I'm concerned about. There goes PCT up a little bit higher now, showing me 83s. There's 80, okay, dropping down a little bit now into 81s, packing the patience on that one. I also want to mention NUAI, which is holding trend. Not bad look here at the volume weighted average price. I want to say it's around 360s, but you know, it's had a tendency to break down below that level, so I'm going to keep my eye on that one as well. PCT continuing to bump up. Looks like it came into my level but didn't cross at 85, so I'm packing the patience there. On the Rail TV says DJT's a short. If it is, brother, then I'll get stopped out. You know, that's just the look there. Thank you for your opinion. I'm going to continue to keep an eye here on SOC. We just got a print there into the 20s. Not much else for me to look at other than those. Yeah, there goes PCT into 21, looking for the move into 25 on that, and then we'll be looking for 30s next. Nice move there into the low 20s, but it's got to continue here. We're having trouble making higher highs on SOC, given that candle that just closed at 1110. So that's what I'll keep my eye out on there, Joe.
All right, good stuff. So yeah, there goes the market. Failed to establish a new high. I mean, we got out of Tesla early. I'm like, all right, I don't want to stand in front of this. It's probably one of the stronger names here this morning. So let's just avoid it regardless of what happens after the fact. And we get out right at the lows, and then now you're starting to come right back into close to our entry price. But we'll avoid this thing at all costs. That's fine. I'm not going to feel any type of way about it. And we'll just find something else. I do like the opportunity that's displaying itself here on the TQs. So I'm going to post up at 37s. Let's see if we can catch a fill there. I mean, it already came into that level, but once again, we only have to risk 10 cents, right? So we'll hold off on this. If we take an L here, then we'll be down 60%, so roughly where we were yesterday, right? And then we're gonna have to sit on our hands. Yes, Joey Smooth is in the chat, brother, but I'm focused on trading right now. Obviously gonna engage with you guys throughout the day and everything along those lines. So there it is. Yeah, Tesla, man, super, super strong. Let's see if we can hold on to this. We caught that fill at 37s. If we can break this neckline, I think we'll be fortunate enough to get some continuation, maybe down to the volume-weighted average price. So slowly starting to work. But again, it's a pretty strong market. And I think if we're going to have to wait for the pullbacks and we're going to have to wait for those indecision, I'm going to have to size down a little bit too, especially if I want to remain a player within today's game. So let's see if we can keep this trade on and working for us as there it goes. Yeah, so 39. So we're slightly out the money. If it was going to work, I think it would work a little bit quicker. So what I was thinking here is that we have this indecision print right at the high. You get that flush down. You get that bid right back up. You fail to put in a new high, and then now you're starting to just hold this level right there at 52.40. So where's our target? We're in at 37s, risking 10 cents. We want to wait until 17s before we take anything off there, guys. So 17 is going to be that primary target where we will remove 50% of our position, and that's if we're fortunate enough to get it, all right? Nothing is guaranteed. Now, as for the top performing sectors here, guys, let's get right into this stuff. We have the consumer discretionary being led by the likes of Tesla, 2.47%, the tech sector up 2%, and the industrials up 1.16%, guys. The bottom three, we got the consumer staples up approximately 0.1%, and then we have the real estate sector down 0.04%, and then we have the energy sector up 1.11%. And there goes the market putting in a new high there, roughly. Ooh, what a battle we got going on between the Bears and the Bulls. It's been a fun, exciting one, guys, regardless of the status of your P&L. Let's just have some fun and ride this roller coaster and see if we can find some quality opportunities. Micron was my missed op of the day. I told you guys I was bidding 247, and it climbed immediately, tapped right into it, didn't catch the fill, and then it was off to the races there with MU. But it's not looking too good here on the TQ short tree.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, keeping an eye still on FSL. I think I'm going to add here at the volume weighted average price. What I want to see though from FSL is the first 5-minute candle to make a new high, preferably on a closing basis, because you keep trying to catch these falling knives into VWAP. You're like, yeah, I'm going to dollar cost average into VWAP, and then VWAP kind of be my line in the sand. You can do that, or you can just wait for a better, take the risk to get a worse price with the idea that, it's going to wait for confirmation is what I'm saying. So you're going to have to wait for a worse price in order to get that confirmation. So let's see what this candle does here as it trends above the volume weighted average price. I'm looking for that higher low. We've got that higher low. We still have a couple of minutes left though on this candle. Into that 1040. There was a 1040 buyer earlier on FSL, I want to say at 1025, and that was one of the biggest green candles we've had on the day, of course, save and except for the 930 open print. What I'd like to ideally see is to clear that 50 penny area in case that $0.50 wants to act as a level of psychological resistance. We're at it right now. We're showing like 48. So we'll pack the patience. We'll wait for a better price on that one. SOC continues to trend up, man. So I don't really have much in the way of management to do here on SOC. We built the position. We've got, what do we got on SOC at the moment? We've got 11s. It's showing 23. So it's good continuation on that one. Likewise here with PCT. We don't have the same type of position on PCT as I do in SOC. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that. And then what's it called? Donald John. We're looking for continuation on this one. What do we have here on Donald John? We've got 93s. There's the first print there, 97. Let's look for a pop back up. There we go, 1401s. It took out all my prints, but it's got to get back above 14 for me to feel comfortable over here because, well, it gave it up pretty aggressively. So let's layer some orders and see if we can kind of get a nice price spike up above that level and take some prints there on Donald John. Putting in a hammer candle. Oh, wow. Yes, look at the buyer step in on my friend Donald John. Get him, Donald.
Get him,
Donald. All right, here we go. We're kidding, of course, guys. We have respect for President Trump. We're just joking around, right? So there he is. Get him. Tell him, Donald.
The utmost respect, my boy.
There we go. Keeping an eye on Donald John. Trump over here. FSL starting to curl. This is what I was talking about. If you want to add into the position on FSL. I'm looking for a clearing of the $0.50. But alas, it is a 6 penny spread, 53 on the ask, 47 on the bid. So that one hasn't quite crossed above the $0.50 quite yet. So, and this opened up a new candle now. What do I do here? Do I add into this position, or do I wait for a decided clear of the $0.50? Look at that. It drops right down below with the bid dropping into 42. So I'm going to insist that I get a better price here before I get some more on FSL. There goes Donald John Trump into the low teens. It's like convoluted there on my chart because all the prints are so close together, but we're making it back here on Mr. Trump. Let's take out some more, as we do have a good size on this one, and layer the orders on this bad boy. I'm going to look for some prints in the 20s. Let's go ahead and sit at 25, of course. If we get up there, it would just be peaches. How's my PCT trade doing?
How's it doing?
Yeah, it will post-psychotherapy, Joey. You gotta wait a little bit there for the test to come back.
Oh.
Oh, we're getting super nuanced. Half the people are not.
Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know about that stuff.
Oh God,
really,
yeah. You've been in the gym as long as I have. You know what? You can basically.
Dude,
memorize
did
it,
I tell you? So, anyways, when I was at LA at Dixie and Eglinton, for those individuals who were from Toronto, there's this guy. He kept coming up to me, man. Had neck tattoos. He's like, "Yeah, Joe, you look pretty good." But he didn't say my name or anything. He's like, "Yo, yeah, you wanna like level up and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, always. I always want to level up." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I'm on this, that, and this.
Okay.
I can hook
Enjoy
you up."
it,
And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "No,
it,
no thanks, brother." All right, Sharif, we got some breathing. We just got some breathing room right there. We take a lot of our, we take a nice chunk of our losses out right there, waiting for that 1-to-1. I was wanted 17s, but it's really risky. I go across the board, guys. When I tell you that I'm trading the TQs, I have to look at what the big boys are up to. Apple and Microsoft have other plans today. They're continuously climbing higher. Yeah, that Tesla trade could have worked, but I mean, look how much lower we are. And TSLZ is just essentially right at my entry price. So I'm happy that I'm not involved in this. I'm gonna just take it off of my screen and focus on what we got going on here. Netflix is getting destroyed right now as it's heading towards the low of the day. We have exactly 50% of our position remaining, and it's just like that. We're more than alive once again. Didn't diamond hands it to a 2-to-1, but we got a little bit more, and I'm happy with it. We piece out 50%, and the market looks like it wants to take a dive right there, Sharif. Let's party on, Wayne, and party on, Garth. There we go. We catch another fill right there at 22s. A nice little move to the downside on the TQs. Let's see if we can wait and hold the remaining 40% for 17s.
All right, man. Continuing to watch here. DJT dropping back below 14. Still above my entry, though. Looking for a hold of 90. We scalped up a good size of the position, but we're still holding. We're still holding here, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out on that one. SOC, we still have a couple of beak-wetters left, but this one feels like it's breaking trend. It feels like it's headed down to 9, and it might break 9 at the 20. I'm gonna pack my patience on this one. I don't want to take it out too quickly. I'll let it breach 9. If it breaches 9, I'm out on SOC. How we doing on PCT? Nothing to report there. Let's just keep an eye here on Donald John. No, that one is going to lose 90, and it's going to lose prior bar low. That's what I'm concerned about there with prior bar low at 1387. We're getting awfully close to that level. Let's be on the lookout. FSL I added pretty nicely there above the $0.50. And the problem is now it looks like it might be using the 10 EMA on the 5 as a level of resistance as opposed to support. But here we go. It's popping off a little bit. Let's wet the beak there. Here comes 60. 60 showing up on the ask. We got to cross a little bit. What's up?
I was going to say the market really tanking there.
Okay, you want to cover it?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, we're going to hit this first. All right, so we're right back into this, guys. 10 cents worth of risk. Yeah. So
he's up and he's down, and he's up and he's down.
Hey, man, that's how it works, baby. That's how it works. We ride the wave. We ride the roller coaster for the first time ever. I think I'm going to say it's either I'm getting sick or it's a little warm in here. I'm not sure which one it is.
I feel you.
So, yeah. And getting those kind of cold sweats and everything. So, yeah. Good look, a good trade here, 37s. You see our entry price, primary target being 52.17s. We were holding 40% into that level, and then we got that aggressive flush to the downside in the overall market, guys. So there it is. Let's see if Microsoft wants to participate. Okay, this guy's got to go. Meet Navity. Yeah, easy. See you later. Yeah, you can't be doing that stuff. Hopefully I didn't. Okay, good. I just hope I didn't want to block the wrong dude. Yeah, so he's gone. All right, Shreve, sorry to interrupt you. There we go here on TQs. Once again, we wait to a 1-to-1. We take some off. We get even a little bit more south of that.
All right, good luck, Joey. Good luck. All right. There we go. Now we got an aggressive bump here on DJT. So we have 3 bottoming tail candles. They all breach 14, and I don't really know what to make of them. There's clearly a buyer at around 85. The last 3 candles on DJT have bottoming tails that seem to bounce in the low to mid 80s. But it is having trouble clearing 14, and there's no decided trend here where you can kind of see, oh yeah, it's making higher lows or it's making lower highs. I don't really feel like I got a right read on the trend here on DJT, to be quite honest with you, other than the lower highs from the 1035 pop there. So we'll keep tabs on that. FCell, we got a bunch of prints into the 60s, but I added aggressively into this one, and now it's coming back down right into my entry into 54. So FCell not holding trend, to be quite honest. Well, it hasn't made prior bar low yet, so well, it hasn't breached prior bar low. I did get stopped out of SOC, but I didn't have that much remaining on that one. That one looks like it's headed down to VWAP. Guys, I'm not going to be able to trade any other ones other than the ones that I have now. So if you're tagging me, I'm not going to be able to cover them. I do apologize, okay? 870 is where SOC has the volume weighted average price. So if it does come into that level, I could set up there. But for the moment, we're going to steer clear of SOC at this level. Keeping my eye here on FCell, back into the mid 50s we go, right back into my break-even point, looking for a continuation on FCell, likely into that 1090 area, give or take. That's what I'm going to be looking for there. And then PCT, I've said little about because the volume has really dropped off here, guys, on PCT. Seems to have a seller in and around 80s, so we're going to keep an eye out on that, Joey. I'm going to send it to you so I can change the temperature in this place.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So, I mean, I just mentioned something in the chat. Fluffy, I appreciate you. Water, brother, you're telling me that none of your compadres that make something better than water. No. I like see, the thing is, though, I don't like too much caffeine. My body doesn't react very good to it, whether it's tea or coffee. I don't know what it is. So, yeah, this is just a nice hot cup of water, H2O. So, not too bad. Adair, what do you have for us? I'll wait until I get the good to go from Fabian.
What I have here, Joe, is some crypto. We'll take a look here at COIN to start because Coinbase actually gapped up this morning. Now, it's really struggled to maintain any of that strength, but it does have an interesting little news catalyst I want to talk about. Yesterday after the bell, they have the Coinbase system update during which they announced 8 new products. I think the biggest thing here are their Kalshi event contracts. We know event contracts are a very big business with DraftKings trying to get into the prediction space, Robinhood trying to get into the prediction space, Coinbase now joining that fold with, again, this Kalshi event contract deal. Then we've also got stock trading here with COIN clearly trying to branch out of being purely a crypto type play and then moving into a wider realm. So interesting look there for COIN. And an even more interesting look here for Bitcoin, in my opinion, because that 85,000 level, we tested it briefly yesterday, much like we did the previous 2 days, but we can't break it. We also, though, cannot get above this overhead resistance for about 90,500. So BTC in roughly 5,000 point range over the last couple of days. Let's see if we break up or break down. As of right now, the potentially no man's land for this cryptocurrency as we send you back to the Bash Brothers.
All right, guys. Yeah, we're getting another kind of bottoming tail forming or similar candle here on DJT right at that same level we were talking about, which is the low 90s, high 80s. We're not changing trend in terms of higher lows, but these bottoming tail candles are quite interesting. You wonder really how aggressive these buyers are going to be in and around here. But as I look at it, this area was not really an important area earlier in the day. I mean, we didn't reject off it. We didn't bounce off it. So I'm not really sure why buyers are aggressively buying in and around this area here on Donald John, but we're going to have to wait and see what kind of trend change we get there. FCell has a bit of resistance level, I want to say locally in the high 50s, 60s, give or take. We keep popping off, and I keep getting prints on a wick basis, but none of the candles seem to close above 60 on FCell. So I'm going to try and take some more here in the low 60s. Let's put some profit takers there and see if we can get a nice price spike up on that bad boy. And then how's PCT doing? Looks like it's waking up here a little bit, trying to take out that 80 penny level now, showing me 78s. Not a bad look on that one. What do we have on PCT? We don't even have too many shares, so I don't want to take out too much too quickly. Also, I want to mention that SOC, that one that I got stopped out of, is now at VWAP. So I'm going to take another shot at it here in case it does want to bounce off the volume weighted average price, which it did earlier at around 10.10. So let's give this one the old college try. We're going to punch in there, and we're going to give it a little bit of room in case, you know, we get stop hunted. So let's go ahead and wait right down there, and we'll see kind of what we can do on this one. So what do we get on that? On SOC, we got 76s. So let's go ahead and post some profit takers in case this one does pump back up. And it's already showing a little bit of a jump here on this one. So nice to see that others are looking at the same thing, if not a little bit similar. So that's the look there, Joey. What are we doing? Let's go back to Donald John. How we doing there? Right back into 14. So another bottoming tail candle forming here on DJT, but no bounce as of yet. So we're still having trouble with 14, Joey. What are you looking at, my man?
Cool, good stuff. Just talking with 1965 kid and 2NY saying, yeah, I didn't know. Maybe I traded a long time ago. I think I did. Now that that you kind of bring it up here, yeah, I know exactly 2NY. So I have to have a lot of food in my stomach if I'm going the caffeine route. But yeah, let's see what we got going on. It's been pretty good. A nice recovery so far. By no means am I green just yet, but I'm not going to count myself out. And we'll be patient and wait for some quality opportunities. Microsoft is definitely got some type of plans today as it's continuing to climb higher up into 490. Let's get over to the daily and see what we got going on here with this name. A nice bounce off of some key support levels, and now you're starting to recover. This might be a key resistance zone right at 491.68, so keep an eye out of us climbing up to there. It feels like we have that magnet effect leading into that specific zone, so keep an eye out on MSFT. Let's head over to a couple more of the big boy names and see what Amazon is up to 227. I think it's a solid buy, to be honest with you, in this neck of the woods, considering that we went up to 258 and then we rejected relatively aggressively. So there it is, 16% off of that previous high on AMZN, now slowly starting to climb higher. Apple as well too. Oh, okay, I got to get out. I still have this position. Yeah, what a squeeze there in the market. So as the Nasdaq heads right back towards the high of the day, NVDA doing the exact same thing. So a bull flag being formed, guys, is exactly what I'm looking at. So you can see strong move up, bull flag on the way down, and then now we're starting to push back towards the top end of the range. Now, as for ASM, Jay Bronson, you were asking me about this. If we head over to the lower time frames, extremely illiquid. So it would be really difficult for me to trade this because I need the liquidity. But from a daily standpoint, if you're an investment and you want to hold out for an investment, you're rocking and rolling, Sharif.
All right, man. Nice move up here for FCell. Looking like it wants to take out 60 decisively finally, but not quite yet. High of this candle is 68. We did get the beak wet up there, but there's a couple of prints. Well, the one at 69 certainly didn't get printed, but it is now above the 10 EMA. And I want to see if this one wants to squeeze above the high of the day at 1090, looking maybe possibly 11. We'll see what we get on that one. But PCT does look like it's breaking trend, and I just don't want this one to kind of take my focus away from the other ones, especially since it's such a slow mover. So we're going to let that one go, flattening out there. Also keeping an eye on DJT as this one's still trying to work its way back above 14. It's got a seller in the low 14s, 1404, 1405. We have 93.5 on this one. There's 1405. The bottoming tail candles as well. It really hasn't changed its shape or its look right now. So trying to hold this one through a nice pump up. I want to see if we can spike up into the $0.25, the $0.50. If I take out too much here, I'm really going to lament it if this one does price spike up. 8 showing up now, 10 showing up. Nice. Come on, Donald. Let's go, baby. Up into 11 we go, looking for continuation. We'll wet the beak there near the highs. We also have some here at 15. Then we're waiting in the low 20s. So DJT looking like it wants to take 14 again, but give me grief in the interim. SOC, I'm about to get stopped out of that one for the second time. I'm not sure why my stop is not triggering. This one is losing VWAP. Oh yeah, that's right. I gave it a little bit of room because I didn't want to get stop hunted. Let's see if this one can trail back above VWAP. Right now, it's not. It's losing the volume weighted average price. This was one of the best looking ones on the day, man. Up 63%. It looks like it's going to give it back here unless it gets an aggressive price spike up and takes this one back above VWAP. Go, Donald, go. There we go. We got shares on Donald. There it goes into the 20s. It takes almost all of my prints, save and except for the one at 25. We've got nice position on this one. Let's wait at 30, and then we're going to also wait at 34s. Let's see if we can get a nice little move into there. DJT looking like it's doing its thing. 25 over here. How's my friend FCell doing? No new prints, no new prints, no new prints on this one. So we're going to wait for another move into the 70s on what's it called? On FCell. But it looks like SOC is going to stop me out again. I don't think this guy, I did get stopped out. Crap. On SOC. Oh, I only got stopped out half the position. How does that work? Okay, I'm gonna keep that one. Let's see if it bounces back up. And yeah, that's it, Joey. We're gonna monitor all these ones, looking for DJT to continue, for FCell to continue, but SOC is the bane of my existence.
Oh, all right, guys. Yeah, let's see what we got going on. I can obviously smell Neil's food. It smells pretty good. Another indecision print on the TQs. I mean, if it's worked a couple of times, let's head over into the lower time frame so we can see the detail. So I was short off of this specific level. Fortunate enough to get that move to the downside here, and then now we're starting to climb back up. So I have to keep an eye on the Mag 7 to see what they're up to today. Apple's daily is extremely interesting, and if this name and as well with Tesla are on buy programs, it's going to be extremely difficult to short this. So just look at this candle being printed right now on AAPL. If you ask me, it's just itching to go green. So if we do happen to trade above this open right here and climb a little bit higher, that's going to be a pretty bullish candle in my opinion. Right around some support levels, we didn't even have the ability to make it to that 265 level, which is I think is a pretty good signal saying, yeah, we're strong today. So any form of dip buying, indecision at the lows, we get those pullbacks and indecision prints 1 minute time frame, I'm going to be looking to participate to the long side. I'm happy that we got this move on the TQs. We are fortunate enough to get that patient waiting for that level to come into play. Now we just got to wait for that next opportunity. Literally, so I've traded 4 names. I have one of them are only green. That's going to be the TQs. IBIT we take a loss on, and Netflix we take a loss on, and TSLL we take a loss on. But we're only 1 R away from going back green. And if we hit a 2R, it's going red to green. So I'm just going to be patient and wait for that quality opportunity. And I think that's really important, guys, especially if you're having a little bit of a tougher time on today's session sheet.
All right, we're taking some prints on the high side here to FCell again as it pops up into the high 60s, looking for now the 70s print. Well, we didn't get, did we get 69? No, we still didn't get 69. Showing me 69 now. It's a 3-penny spread, so it's gonna have to cross to get the print. Let's see if FCell wants a price spike up into the 70s. It is now a 5-candle green setup on FCell, but we'll still have to pack the patience on this one. I'm also seeing PCT starting to change its tune. It looks like it wants to go a little bit higher here, so we're gonna get back into this one, and I'm gonna give it to 70. If it doesn't hold 70, then I'll just get out of this one, so we won't have to risk all that much on PCT. Let's see if it wants to price spike up into the 80s. I'm just gonna layer the orders there, so if I'm not watching the screen, I can get the prints nonetheless. So, oops. I got to put some in the 90s as well. There we go. How we doing here on SOC? No, not quite yet. What do we have on SOC? 66s, so we're still out of the money. Let's see what this one does. Back to FCell, still showing 68s and might be running up possibly here into 69. But again, the spread is 3 pennies and it's giving me grief over here because we're not getting the print on that side. DJT still curling up, still higher lows. So those bottoming candles that we saw in the high 13s ended up being operative because we made that 5-minute candle to make a new high. Now we need to clear the $0.25. The $0.25 is where we basically rejected off the last 2 candles. So that's going to be my focus right now to see whether DJT's got selling at the $0.25 up into 16s we go. But every time we pop off a little bit here, I feel like there is another seller or a short seller waiting to kind of bring us down. So it does feel like these small caps have a bit of a cap on them. None of them are really breaking out with aggression. Not really in the way that you would look for momentum trades. So we've got to be alive to the situation in which we find ourselves. So I'm not going to be taking aggressive moves on these ones unless they're really showing their intentions to kind of bump up there. Now, SOC's coming back down again, man. I'm going to get stopped out of this one. This one can't catch a bid if its life depended on it. My goodness, from 947 all the way down now into 8.5. No support at VWAP, no support at the whole dollar. So we're going to have to actually go negative on this name because of this latest ad over here. Initially positive on it, as you can see at the top, but not a good look. But FCell making up for it and then plenty. Up into the 70s we go. I have a much bigger position on FCell than we do on SOC, so not a bad look there. And this one popped off, took off all my orders, saving except for the 77 one. So I got 75, I got 69. The one that is still waiting to print is 77s and 82s. Down below 70, we go. We're going to pack the patience on this one. Joey, what do you got?
Looking at the options chain here and see what we got going on Tesla, call activity. We were talking a little bit about the put side this morning. I believe it was around 480 or something, roughly around that neck of the woods. But look at the supply zone right at 500. We were talking about this a couple of days ago, I believe on Tuesday, 490, a little bit of a supply zone as well. And that's going to be the ceiling on today's session so far, right? I'm not saying that this liquidity can't be absorbed, but what we're seeing at that specific zone is 19,700 contracts still open with 73,000 traded on the intraday session. That's going to be the second largest on today's options activity. And then here's Tesla's chart, guys, right there, 490 being that high, running into that supply zone. Maybe we need to absorb a little bit more. You get that cool down to 487, and then it's immediately right back up to the top end of that range. Let's pull up the chart on this itself. I feel like I don't do this enough for you guys, so I just remind me that when we're talking it, let's pull up the options chart to see what the liquidity is looking like. Wow, you would think this is a stock at the end of the day. Look at the liquidity here. This is a thing of beauty, in my opinion, here on this December 19th, 25, 500 call contract. And let's take a look at when it really starts to step in. Wow. So even though yesterday was a down day, I mean, okay, yeah, so maybe not so, but you do get a little bit of a pop just due to the increase in implied volatility. But at one point, in October 6th, that contract was worth $3,300. It's now worth $248. Once again, the long-term shorting and the decay in options coming right into play. So not too bad of a look on this specific contract, guys. Intraday, the liquidity is there. You're not going to have to worry about it whatsoever.
All right, man. FCell continuing to trend up, guys. Just took out some more in the mid-70s. Prior bar high, 74. Current, now we're showing 75s. Good look. Looking for continuation on FCell here. Let's see if we can take out prior bar high. Not only 8.1 million shares. I think that's pretty much why we've got a 4-penny spread on this bad boy right now. We're still holding some, so let's wet the beak here. Let's see if we can take out some more at this level. There we go. Good look. Looking for that continuation above 75, that 75 seller. Keeping a damper on everybody's long party here. That's on FCell, up 30, almost 36%. Yeah, there we go. Crossing into the 36% realm. Still a sell at 75. I also want to mention NUAI is really going here. It's not rocketing up. There are really none today that are rocketing up in this way that we saw over the last few days, but a very predictable hold at the volume weighted average price. So keep your eye on that one. That could be interesting as well. There goes FCell into 78s. Now we're almost at 82s. We got shares on this one, so let's go ahead and wait a little bit north here, Joe. Oops. There we go. Let's go ahead. Hello. That's why. Let's go wait a little bit north. We're going to wait at 87s. Let's see if we can get that one on FCell. I did stop out of DJT because it keeps dilly-dallying with 14. If it wants to get above 14.25, I'll get back involved. But right now, I'm expending too much mental energy trying to pick up the lows there on DJT. So can keep an eye on FCell as this one's popping off into 80s. Now it's at current bar high. Still waiting for that 82 print. By the way, NUAI is breaking out, guys. Almost 2 pennies off the high. Watch out for resistance right here at 70. You've had 2 rejections off that 72 penny, 71 penny area. We're showing 71s right now on NUAI. I'm not involved in it, but it looks awfully strong, and it's about to take out prior high, and it's got higher lows. So, you know, you can feel like the accumulation on that one. So NUAI should be in focus for those who are small cap gapper inclined. Yep, that's what I've got right now. SOC, I'm still holding this one. I got 66s, it's showing me 63s. It's got a bit of a hammer candle here, so I'm looking for a move up back above 70s. If we don't get it, I'll stop out on current bar low. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey. And I'm also keeping an eye, of course, on PCT, but we're break even on that one.
All right, man, good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, Ozen and I just talking a little bit of Tesla. There goes NVDA heading right back towards the high of the day. It's been a strong one for this chip name. Some big time stuff going on with NVDA. Let's head over to the daily and see what we got going on. Once again, I just think that we're going to break this level, to be honest with you, 168. We're just waiting for some form of a catalyst to step in, but CPI coming in relatively cooler than expected today, which is slightly, I mean, it's a good thing. I like it for the market. Yeah, it's a big negative gamma after that $500 level. Yeah, I agree with you. And that's what I was saying, is that just wait till you get to the lower end of the range. And if you have the ability to do so, because the way that I'm specifically looking at this, I'm wrong at the break of this. Now, you're going to ask yourself, like, okay, well, I don't want to risk X amount of dollars. You have to give yourself approximately $2 from that zone. So if you get any form of a pullback, and the closer you get to this pivot right here, I think you can set yourself up for a quality opportunity. You might not even get it at this point, Ozen. Look at it holding up this neckline relatively as good as well. Could this be an inverse head and shoulders? Possibly, as we're starting to bounce. So anything south of 488.68, we post up there. I think you have a good opportunity to break this previous intraday high and then head to that next zone, which might be around 491, 492, especially if the volume really starts to kick in. It's funny because the overall market is kind of going opposite than what Tesla's doing. So just be patient, sit on your hands. If you're having trouble navigating this market, there's nothing wrong with waiting until the latter half of the session and waiting for that A++ setup, because that's what I'm going to do. I only wait for high quality, post up where I want to find those entries and see what we got going on. Do you want to cover anything, Sharif? I was going to go over something quick.
Do your thing, bro.
Yeah, all right, man. Give me a couple minutes here. Let's get right into this.
What do you got,
I'm just going to bring up from yesterday.
The trades on.
Yeah, just like the stop outs. Like,
I like it.
Yeah, I just want to just display something. And the only thing that's really kept me in the game yesterday was just sticking to those rules. You see Neil and the boys across the board really do it. Aside from what we were trading, I'm going to show you guys a hot mess in which I was getting involved with Tesla. This is all of the trades from yesterday. This is TQs here. TQs once again. Now let's take a look at my first essentially 3 trades on Tesla. I mean, so we can see here, guys, essentially what we have going on is that I'm getting in and I'm getting stopped out exactly where I need to. It's 10 cents a risk. I'm thinking that the market is going to bounce at those specific prints, but we're not getting that. So it's literally 1, 2, 3. Now listen, sometimes you shouldn't repeatedly hammer something, especially if it's not working to the point where you're getting frustrated with yourself. But I was like, I think at some point we're going to find a bid, because this is really aggressive, and we've been extremely bullish here in Tesla. It just took significantly longer than what we were anticipating. I get a little bit of a move here, but we get stopped out. Moving on. I take 2 additional stop outs, but look what I have going on here. So we take 2 more stop outs. We're just sticking to our risk, 10 cents, that's it. We're in at 21s, we're in out at 2090s, we're in at 21s, we're in at 2090s. Now I'm like, wait, what am I doing? I'm at the top end of the range. Let's get closer to the lower end. So where I'm getting out, I get right back in at 2090s, and this time I'm only risking until 85s. So that's south of this line. And then that's when we're fortunate enough to take this move all the way higher. So your risk to reward and sticking to those stops are extremely important. You've seen that I took 3 losses in a row at full risk, but then it allowed me to stay within that game and put on this one more trade that essentially almost eliminated half of all of those losses. So that's just sticking to risk to reward, and I think it's really important when you are intraday trading.
Well said, man. Excellent analysis there, Joey. Okay, guys, we're keeping an eye here on FCell as this one moves back into 80s. The high of the day is 90s, but I've got a bit of a bias that this one might glance at 11, so if that's the case, I don't want to take out too much too quickly, but we're nicely in the money on this one. We're also back into Donald John. I liked what it's doing here. I like the higher lows. I just think that I've been trading it incorrectly, looking for that decided breakout, but it's kind of convoluting this chart here. So I'm trying to show it to you in the way that, all right, we got to zoom out here to kind of show what I'm saying. See these bottoming tail candles, and I see an upward tilt on these. So the buyers are picking up DJT at higher and higher levels. What I think we need, though, for that continuation trade is a move and a hold above 25. So I'm trying to build up the position in at the right area and looking for that nice move into 14 and a quarter, possibly 14 and a half if we really get a breakout. But we'll pack the patience on that one. NUAI is going, guys. Very strong name today. I mean, it lost VWAP momentarily. I want to say at around 1010, but it has recovered, and most notably, it really did use VWAP after breaching it and showing maybe that it wasn't respecting it as a level. It did subsequently respect it for a while, and now kind of has that U shape, that rounding shape, which has higher lows, and we know what that means essentially, which is, you know, that the buyers are picking up this NUAI at higher and higher levels, leading to the flat top break that we got through 370. Now it's a 375 high, so good strength at the moment right now on NUAI. I'm going to have to figure a trade into this. I'm going to see possibly maybe we can get some money fills in the mid to high 60s on the name. Otherwise, I really have no inclination at punching in at highs. So that's a look there. Continuing to hold Donald John Trump, DJT, into the mid 14 or low 14s right now. And then FCEL continues to kind of reject off that 80s level. We just closed a doji candle at the 1150. The 1150 candle on the 5 ended up closing as a bottoming tail red doji candle, and this candle has a lower high that we're currently involved in. So I don't want to give back too much too quickly on FCEL, despite the fact that we're in at 53. We have unrealized profits right now. If we allow this to come down, then we're going to give a little bit too much back. So we're going to wet the beak a little bit over here and see if this one wants to take out that 1090 area. How we doing, though, on PCT? PCT doing nothing, holding trend, but not really rocketing up. And then SOC is working its way back into the volume-weighted average price, but look for a rejection possibly at 70. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles now that have basically closed or opened below the volume-weighted average price on SOC. So if you're looking for a dip trade into that one, be careful, because, you know, this has a tendency to lure you in with a nice price spike up, only to reject off VWAP as a level of resistance. So that is my look there, Joey. And we're going to try to keep adding into DJT on the higher lows if it still makes sense to do so.
All right, cool, man. Good stuff, brother. So there it is. The market's slowly starting to come back in. Not too bad of a look. We were struggling right at this, so almost a triple top right here on the TQs, guys. Let's head over to the 5-minute time frame and eliminate some of the noise and the detail here and see what we got going on. A lot of wicks touching this specific zone. But keep an eye out. Until this is breached, I'm not switching my bias on the long here. If this breaks here at 52.05, depending on how the momentum is at the break of that specific level, even if you're fortunate enough to get there, what it's like heading into the volume-weighted average price, that's if, right? So that may not even happen whatsoever. So that's what I have my eyes on. It's worked for us. It's been our better trader on the day, so I may as well just stick to the guns. Amazon starting to come back in a little bit off of those highs, guys. 229, trading at 227.64. Let's take a look at what we got going on in the 5-minute. Apple, not doing too much. To be honest with you, what I'm thinking here is that these 5-minute prints going to the long side aren't that strong, especially these are relatively, so they take the strong hand right there, and then sure enough, these, it looks like you're running on fumes. I like what Brian Shannon said that one time, and the volume's really starting to step off as well too, so keep an eye out. If a larger participant steps in, wants to take control of what's going on, that can most definitely happen, especially if it's in the favor of the downside, so keep an eye out on AAPL, guys. Weird price action on today's chart, if you ask me. You have the strong 5-minute opening drive to the downside, not a wick in sight on that candle. If you're an orb player, then by all means, you're taking that all day, and then you get that move lower, but then you get that indecision print right at the lows, and then you recover. But I think this is fumes. Wait for that slow curl over, starting to turtle shell right now, as you can see. And the closer you get to the higher end of the range, the more you can increase your risk to reward ratio, and I think that's really important to note here, guys. Keep an eye out on AAPL as the market continues to ebb and flow. TQ's going right back into the middle of the range. TSLZ, I don't know why I still have this thing anything on the lower end of my chart, we take that small loss on there. But it is what it is. I like what the market's showing me. Yesterday's session was relatively fun. All week has been a pretty good time. I've been looking forward to coming into, even though I do every day, but just trading these markets just due to the volatility and kind of the choppiness of it.
Yeah, I don't mind it so much. I like the opportunity to pick up some stuff on sale. And, like we were talking about yesterday with Broadcom is definitely a name I'm looking at working into. Let's take a look at what the price action is showing us today on the daily on Broadcom over here. Yeah, certainly still definitely haven't found that level of support. Or have we, Joe? I mean, we did come back into this level.
Is Broadcom the next stock on your wish list? Like
we talked about it yesterday.
You're hunting this one.
We're going to pick this one up specifically for the ASICs trade. We've been talking about this. I'm a firm believer that NVIDIA's margins are not sustainable. I think that their moat gets eaten into, specifically from custom silicon. Especially since a lot of the chips that they're selling are to the hyperscalers, and the hyperscalers are looking for efficiencies wherever they can get it. And efficiencies obviously are to make custom chips that run your application, your custom application better, that reduce your energy intake, and cost a lot less. So yeah, I'm definitely a bull in this, but it's got to be at the right price. Today we have a higher low than yesterday. So what I'm keeping my eye on is a consistent pattern of higher lows on Broadcom. That's my thinking here. I don't want to catch a falling knife in the way that I did with Meta, even though we're doing well on Meta, but that's not the point. The point is I had to aggressively DCA, which took me out of my plan. I want to stick with my plan, Joe.
Nice stuff, nice talk. All right, guys, concussion demand, fast solutions, the NYSE listed Orogenics. Ogen is developing one designed to reach the brain quickly and non-invasively. Learn more by scheduling a meeting today. Ogen. There it is, guys. Yeah, a lot going on here. I think that's important stuff. Obviously, concussion is really important. But we're going to send it off to Adara. What's happening now, guys?
Let's take a look here. This is for our afternoon happening now. Of course, transitioning to Neil's lesson of the day. We're going to start by taking a look at this S&P 500 because this 680.70 level serving as a little bit of resistance right now for the SPY. We did have a nice push to the upside, still up more than 1% in the day, but let's see if we're able to hold some support around this area, the 679 halves area that we're at right now for the SPY. We'll take a look at the Nasdaq as well while we're here, up a little bit more here. Nasdaq up nearly 2% right now, and also holding on to support a little bit better than the S&P 500. Now, it's worth noting, a lot of what's buoying the market today is a Nasdaq name. That would be Micron. Now, it did give up some of that early strength, but nice push to the upside for MU after its earnings report. EPS beat and a sales beat, but the bigger thing here for MU is going to be its guidance, because it guided well above estimates here. Good look for Micron. I do want to talk as well about the economic data that really led this market to the upside as well, and that would be these cooler than expected CPI prints across the board. CPI month-over-month, year-over-year, core CPI month-over-month and year-over-year, all of these are going to be cooler than expected, and we're actually seeing, as a result, some different adjustments here with regards to when people are expecting rates to be cut. We might get a few more rate cuts than anticipated. So we're seeing some analysis suggesting that. So interesting look. And I also want to talk here about ACN earnings. Accenture reporting earnings as well here. Decent revenue growth, or their operating margin did decline on a year-over-year basis. We also had DRI and KMX reporting earnings. Now tonight after the bell, we're going to get some big ones. Nike, FedEx, BlackBerry, all reporting after the bell today. So certainly stay tuned. Those should be some interesting earnings reports. Tomorrow morning, some decent names as well, CCL among them. Now we're going to send you over to Neil and his lesson of the day. While we do that, make sure to like, subscribe, and get ready to hear some knowledge.
Thank you very much there, Adara. And look, I saw the poll in the chat, and I was like, ooh, now I know exactly what I'm going to talk about here today. Because the poll, for those of you that are in the chat, you can read it right here. Do you review your trades at the end of the market? Now, first off, if you didn't vote in this poll, 1,200 votes, make sure you hit the subscribe button, jump in the chat, converse with the best trading community out there, the best investing market community you're going to find, and then give an answer. 59% of you review your trades at the end of market. Now, the issue here is 41% nope, shut off the books, please, but there wasn't any option for no, I do it at a different time. I'm going to make the assumption that most of you do, I would hope so, and some of you just don't do it right at the end of the day. Maybe you're doing it throughout the day, so you're pretty much done by the end of the day. Maybe you do it in the morning. I do some in the morning myself. Maybe you do it on your ride home. Whatever it might be. Who knows? But if you are reviewing your trades, the other part of it is how. That's the most important part. I've said this time and time again. If your idea of saying, okay, these are the trades I did today, this one's good, this one's bad, it only has to do with your whether you were up or down in the stock, that's not going to play. Straight up, it is not going to play. Like if you end it with, okay, I had 9 trades today, I went 7 for 9, and I had a good day. What? That doesn't even make any sense. Now here's where that could make sense. If every single one of those that you review, I can get this out of the way now because I want to go to some charts here. If every one of those 9 trades was exactly the same setup, right? Like you use the same setup 9 particular times on 9 similar stocks, and you were 7 and 9, okay, good. Then if you were then just net positive that day, that would be good enough. But you have so many different styles of trades. Like I'll give you an example. A couple of winners off the open for me today, and I'll get into losers because the more important thing is your losers, if you're being real. I like Medellin for 2 reasons. 1, it was good yesterday. 2, as long as it held, it was like 37.5. I think I accidentally wrote 36.5 in my note, but that doesn't matter. Oh, it bounced. I said I'm either playing off a support or playing long off VWAP. So I got a VWAP long, and if you watch the morning show, I talked myself out of the second one for some volume-related reasons. But overall, the trade worked. That's fine. I worked it to target, and it was a rather, I'd say, simple and boring trade, and that was part of my plan of action. But it doesn't in any way relate to my Apple trade. Like Apple bounced off VWAP too, and I took it from one step to another step, but that is nowhere near, by the way, this could be breaking trend. That was nowhere near the same setup. Medellin was a day 2 IPO play that was trend up yesterday and putting in higher lows. Apple was a flush off of the open that caught a bid and then consolidated and broke out. Those are 2 very different. One was a relatively weak name, one was a day 2 on strength. So those are apples to apples. All I need to be concerned with is when I'm long Apple, entrance here, exit there, did I execute that well? Risk to reward? Absolutely yes. But I get a B on it because I wanted to be adding on the trend line and it didn't give me an opportunity to. So I probably needed to be more aggressive in the initial candle. So I misjudged my ability to get into the position. Fair enough. And when I go over to look at Medellin, like the only question I should ask myself was, okay, well, if I executed well in the first one, why didn't I take the second? I judged that I could have just gone in half or something instead of not taking it all. So I'd give that like a B or a B plus. So even though they were both positive, fine, B plus. But what's interesting about all of this is it's actually a couple of loss trades that I would grade in some ways a little bit better. Like I lost twice on Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going down. Bitcoin held underneath 90,000. Like everything that I was looking for kind of happened. You know what? I look at the manner in which I took each of these trades. Like you can't go back in time. Like when this makes the break to these highs at like 50, 60, like I can't will myself into a pre-market short. I can't will myself into shorting that first bump because I was thinking maybe into 51 and it went halfway. So once it rejects and I'm looking for a lower high trend trade, I have to take what's out in front of me, which was VWAP. Now, did I get out when this lost VWAP? Yes, kept my stop small. Did it continue higher? Yeah, so it was probably the right call. Did I try it again when it held trend? Yes. Did I widen the stop to give it more of a chance? Yes. When I got out, was it the right call? Absolutely. Did I limit the loss? Yes. And so therefore, one win could easily overtake 2 losses because I kept it tight. Now, where the only place that I would grade this even remotely negatively was not just doing it a 3rd and 4th time. And that's about it. That's part of the point of being disciplined. So here I have a couple of winning trades and then a couple of losing ones. Your winners are bigger than your losers, but if that's the only level of analysis you're going to do, you lose. I actually think that I didn't trade IBIT poorly. Now, I could have been a little bit more active on the back end of the trade. That's why it's not perfect. But I adhered to my rules. My entries are exactly where I would have wanted them. I didn't average down when it was against me. I didn't take entries against my plan. I didn't hold past any of my exits. All of those things are true. And sometimes you will enter a trade that has all of your setups, that you followed your plan of action, which, you know, works most of the time for you, and it just loses. So just because it lost, like if you have something that over the course of the year has paid you 60 to 70% of the time that you do it, and you follow that plan to a T, and it turns into a losing trade, you actually grading yourself as like a D or an F on that? Why? It doesn't even make any sense. Because I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem with that is, then you're not going to take it when it sets up the next time. If it's a positive expectancy, you do it. Losing is just part of the plan of action. But the more dangerous part of this is not that you grade an unsuccessful trade where you followed your plan that's a positive expectancy. If you grade that poorly, that's not the big thing. The biggest problem that traders have when reviewing is simply giving a positive, pat on the back kind of idea, give myself an A because I had a big win, net-wise. That is more dangerous. Now imagine a scenario in which you were a buyer on IBIT, and I'm just going to use this as an example. Imagine where you were buying this up, like IBIT's going to be a long, and you're buying, 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 and you hold it tremendous amount against you against grain just to get one pop, and you're buying the entire $2 down or $1 down or whatever it is, and then you get out so that it ends up being a winning trade. Now you might be P&L positive on that, but if you broke every rule in the book in your strategy and you didn't actually have an entry plan, then to me, that is a fail, and you should grade yourself as a fail. Now, obviously, the market is rolling over quite heavily, so I'm going to get the heck out of here. Don't just review your trades. Have a methodology that makes sense for reviewing your trades, and be honest about it. Grade yourself on your execution of your plan, not just whether you made money on the stock. The market wants to punish you for breaking your rules, and that'll just make you take a bad trade again in the future. So good luck, and this market is really falling.
To take a look here at a whole bunch of these Mag 7 names dropping now. I'm not sure this is the reason for the move. I couldn't find any news for this move, but I do want to cover this either way. Amazon, Google, AMD, NVIDIA, Accenture, and CoreWeave, apparently all amongst the names joining the US AI Genesis mission. I quickly looked up this Genesis AI project, and it looks like this was an executive order signed by Trump a little under a month ago, on November 24th, 2025, basically about AI. I'm going to look more into this. If I see anything else, I'll let you know, but it looks like we have at least 6 companies joining this US AI mission. Apparently, there's a total of 24 firms. There's another 3 quarters here that I don't know the tickers for. If I get more details, I'll let you know, but I'm not seeing anything obvious with that drop. We did get 30-year mortgage rates dropping to 6.21%, so keep an eye on some of these housing plays as we send you back to Joe and Sharif.
Yeah, I mean, there it is, guys. This is what we were talking about earlier. When I was looking at Apple, it looked like we were running on fumes to the top side, and then now we're starting to see some aggressive pullback step into the market. You have that shelf being formed on the TQs, the SPY, and a couple of the other names. That cracked, and it broke through the downside. So watch out for these VWAP bounces, but it does look like the volume and the momentum is definitely in the seller's favor right now, guys.
Yeah, it does feel like that. I'm not keeping my eye on the market, but you can feel it in some of the names that I'm trading at the moment. FCell, more exposed to the market at large, not strictly a small cap gapper like the ones that just show up and then are gone the next day. So FCell came back down, held the 20. I punched in to get more shares, and now we're scalping on the way up back into the mid-60s, looking for a move again into the high of the day. Good news about this one is it held prior area low. Prior area low was in the 30s. This one ended up bottoming out there in the 50s. So we're going to keep a tab on that. But SOC really has reawoken over here, and it is now knocking on the door of $9. 9 is a resistance level. Just take a look at what we did at 9. We used it as support. We were using it as resistance, then support. Not surprising at all, given that it is the whole dollar level. So let's be on the lookout for SOC clearing 9 and then possibly making a move into 9.5, 947 high of day. I did finally get the opportunity to get into NUAIs. This one came off 375 back down. Now I picked it up in the high 60s. I want to say 68. A couple of profit takers. You can't really see them because they're overlapping with my resting with some of my resting profit takers now. So we'll see whether this one can pop up and maybe test that for NUAI. It's a 375 high. Ideally, though, maybe we squeeze into the 80s or even better, that $4 touch. Still doing nothing here on DJT as it continues to dilly-dally at 14. It did break trend a little bit though, but it keeps encountering the same bottoming tail candles that we saw around 11:30 to 11:45. Back into 14 it goes. Looking for a hold here of around this level and then a move above 14.25, but it does seem very much like a range trade rather than any sort of momentum trade, at least for the moment. DJT kind of finds an equilibrium here between buyers and sellers as we've been consolidating essentially since, I want to say, 20 after 11, give or take. I mean, it had a bit of a downtrend prior to that, I want to say around 10:40, but since about 11:20 or so, it has been a bit sideways. Let's see if that maintains. NUAI coming back down. I still have a resting DCA there. How's FCell doing? Several spikes up. So this one did spike up, got me printed on a bunch into the 70s. But look at that, right back down into my entry. And that's what I meant there. The overall market kind of having a bit of a damper right now on FCell, even though, you know, this one marches to the beat of its own drum most of the time. The market not really supporting this one's move at the moment, Joey. So I'm going to have to be careful here as a topping tail candle is now forming on the 5-minute chart on FCell.
All right, guys, let's take a look at what we got going on here. We'll send everything over into the 5-minute time frame so we can get a bit of a broader look and not so much detail. Watch out, when you have that volume really pick up and you have that momentum to the downside, I mean, this is 15 minutes of selling. Not even yet, and this is 5, 10, 15, 20. Like, you have over an hour plus of grinding higher. So just be cautious on what you got going on. It might be a little bit more difficult. Widen the stop, especially if you're looking for that rebound. I got my eyes on Amazon right now. You can see some indecision prints starting to be formed. Gorev, I see you got this pointed out. I mean, if you're going to go long anything, it's probably some of these precious metals here. Here's silver, $59, putting in that new high of the day. Yes, our all-time high yesterday. Some good stuff pulling back in right now. So you want to stick to the strong names, and I think that would be a good opportunity possibly. You have your out. As soon as you crack a little bit more, widen that stop just a bit, guys. As soon as you crack that low, get out of dodge. And then, sure enough, be patient and see what we got going on. Thanks for zooming in on that there, Fabian. I think that's fantastic work there. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Just blowing past a lot of these buying pressure signals and continuing that momentum to the downside. So keep an eye out on a lot of these Mag 7 names. What is Microsoft been up to? Ooh, for 1 minute. Nothing crazy, but same thing, same narrative here, guys. Off of those highs, indecision print right there, right at approximately 489.57, and then you head right down to the downside, closer to the volume-weighted average price. Let's take a look at what we got going on in the options chain on Microsoft to see what we got going on there, and then we'll send it back over to our boy, see what he's got cooking up. He's still in 3 names working out for him there. 490, 9,460, that's going to be a pretty large amount. Okay, so 485, there's more size. 500 on Microsoft has more, but the most volume from an intraday standpoint is coming from that at-the-money strike price tree.
Triple top now on the 5-minute chart on SOC. This one's kind of accumulating for a 9 break possibly. So I'm talking about the candle at 12:05. That's the one that clears VWAP. Then you had a candle of indecision on the 5-minute chart. This one right here on the bottom white chart. But that one did come up to, I believe, 8.99 or 9. I don't know why my mouse over is not working. And now we're putting in a higher low on this current 5-minute candle. So SOC could clear 9. Now, if it does clear 9, I think it's a different trade, given that we were using 9 multiple times today as both support and resistance. So I don't want to get in while we're too close to 9. I didn't have belief in this one that it would reclaim VWAP, even though it had a couple of bottoming tail candles. I thought that they were bull traps. So we're going to have to keep an eye out on this one. But I am interested in getting back at around the break of 9. FCell, though, coming right back into my entry after price spiking up. I don't want to take this one out unless it breaches trend. And the trend for me is going to be prior area low. Prior area low is 1049. So that's what we're going to put our stop right now on FCell so that we don't give back too much in case this one does drop. So I'm going to clear my prior stop on FCell. We're going to give it a little bit of room. And we'll go just like this, and that will give me a little bit of maneuvering room. So there we go. All right, good look, good look. How we doing over here? So the candle that I want to show you guys this on the black charts, but this is really interesting here on FCell. So typically you don't imagine. No, actually, let me just close it down because completely screws up. Oh, wow, nice price spike up. So this candle right here on FSL, see how it's a topping tail candle, ends up closing green. This looks really bad, right? Topping tail candle goes all the way to 70, drops all the way back down to 50. What's interesting about this, though, is it actually has a higher low and a higher high, even though it looked like absolute trash in the way it closed. And then this current candle that we're on, 12.15, higher low, not yet a higher high. Let's see what we can get on this one. As this one pops off into the low 60s, I'm going to put a profit taker at 63, and then we're going to move up a little bit into 67. See if we can get something in around there. How's NUAI? Did I get my dip trade? Of course, it comes right into my dip trade, doesn't cross, and I don't get the dip trade. Fantastic there. So let's see if we can get a little bit more over here. Not sure why that didn't enter. Okay, now it enters. Fantastic. Let's put some profit takers on this one for a price spike up into the low 70s. Low to mid 70s is what I'm aiming for there. Not a bad look on NUAI. It's been quite respectful of the volume-weighted average price. I would have liked to have a better price, of course, but beggars can't be choosers. So we're going to keep tabs on that. And how is FSL doing? Nothing yet there. NUAI, okay, not bad look. Donald John Trump, still holding 14s. Now, I really don't know what to make of this. I was thinking, okay, this looks like maybe an ascending wedge. There, I'm not going to enlarge the chart because it tends to ruin what I'm trying to show over here. So you definitely have a buyer in the high 80s, high to mid 80s. That we know, right? The problem is I was looking for the higher low trend. That broke with the candle at 12 o'clock. And now we've got lower highs. We're still getting the same sort of bottoming till action in and around the same area, low 90s, high 80s. But we're not making any higher highs. So I'm really, my patience is running thin with this one. And I don't really want to be expending a lot of mental energy if this one's not going to pop up. Coming back down into the low now, mid 80s. Let's see if this one, again, being bought up aggressively in the low 90s, mid 80s, but unable to make any higher highs. There it goes, right back into 14, forming another bottoming tail candle. So interesting what the hell this one is doing. How's everything else? Okay, nice. FSL gets a nice price spike up. So very happy with how we've traded FSL today. We've been getting the right moves on this one. Not so much with DJT though, quite frankly. So here we go. Back into 70 we go on FSL. What did we get there on FSL? 58s on the Riyadh, and we had good amount of shares. Let's take some profits there. Now we're waiting for 71, I believe, and then 77. So FCEL, higher lows, but not able to get right into that 1090 area, which has been the high of the day, of course. So that is my look right now on FSL, on DJT, and on NUAI, Joey.
All right, cool. Good look there, guys. Yeah, Gaurav, nice trade on SLV. I'm posted up here at 94s on NFLX. I don't want anything other than that price, $94, as we continue to climb higher. Not going to chase this one, guys, with the momentum to the downside. Where am I going to get out at? 94s. We're going to give it to 93.90s. So relatively tight stop here on Netflix, but you can see the strength start to step right back in. So that momentum to the downside. Now you're starting to get that elastic move right back higher. NVDA putting an indecision print right at VWAP. We have a lot of big names putting in those rebound candles. There's the TQs with that big time hammer candle right below the volume weighted average prices. Solid opportunity right there, guys. I think, in my opinion, risk profile is defined. You guessed it. We have a neckline right here. This is, if this breaks, then you're going to get out of dodge on that long and wait for some more indecision prints to be formed around those lows. But we're going to be patient. I mean, 10 cents, you hit a 2-to-1 right there. If it continues to climb, we can just remove the bid and find something else. There's a lot of names across the board that I think have some quality opportunities. NVDA doing the exact same thing. I want as close to the low as I possibly can. Have to risk too much. I don't like it. I like that 5-10 cents. That's more or less in my wheelhouse. I can get in full size right off the get, give myself that 10-cent stop, and then look for those 2-to-1s post that. Palantir putting in a signal, Gaurav says as well. A lot going on, but Adara, tell us what you got going on.
I'm going to start here with Barrick Mining. I'm seeing, according to a memo released by the company, they are officially resuming operational control of their Mali mine. So operational control of the Mali mine resumed for B. I want to talk as well, once again, about this story here with the USAI Genesis mission. I mentioned 24 companies are apparently joining this mission. I already named 6. We have a whole bunch of other ones, though, as well. Intel, Palantir, IBM, HPE among them. Now, IBM, HPE CEOs, of course, both with U.S. President Trump at an event last week with business leaders. If I get any more details in terms of the other, looks like 14 companies are missing, I will certainly keep you posted. Back to you.
Stuff. So yeah, we're in at the same spot, Sharif. I know you got 3 names going on. What do you got?
Yeah, sorry, give me 1 second.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
Just throwing in my stop. We're good to go. Good. Just putting it in for FCell, looking for continuation of trend. All right, we got a bunch of prints there on DJT as the price spike up. I don't know what this is doing. This is bamboozling. There's certainly a buyer in the area that I mentioned, but there's certainly a seller in the, I want to say 14 high single digits or low double digits. I'm talking 12s, 10s, 13s, or 8s, 9s, because it pops up into those areas and then it's met with aggressive selling. And the deal is, even though we're getting that buyer in the, I want to say the mid 80s, low 90s, the lower high trend is still intact, man, and has been ever since that candle at 1035. So I'm going to keep my eye out on that, looking for a price spike up, and then I'm going to get out of Dodge. NUAI we're doing well on. Punched in, got into 72. Again, it didn't cross, so I didn't get the print, but this one seems like it is certainly a holding trend. This area here is going to haunt me. I had a resting order at 63, got it to 63, didn't print, so I had to chase it at 68. So that's my trouble there. Now I did get stopped at FCell for the last remaining amount, as this one did lose prior bar low. So if FCell comes back into about 1035, I'm a buyer in that level. That is the volume weighted average price. But FCell also suffering from the same affliction from which Donald Trump suffers from as well. DJT, of course, not the president. Lower highs. So ever since that 1040 candle on FCell, which took us into the high at 1090, then we have a subsequent area crest, which takes us into 1080. Subsequent area crest, 1070. So it's a series of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs. Not going to be able to do anything about that until the sellers there get taken out. Back to DJT as we move up back into the mid 14 single digits, 5, 6 showing up. Where's our next profit taker? Well, it's in the double digits. We're waiting at 12s, and then we're waiting in the high teens, and then we're waiting in the 20s. But we're unable to kind of get that continuation there. How's the NUAI trade going? Well, 11 and 2/3%, but unable to break through that $0.75, and now this is a little bit sideways on NUAI. Not giving up the ghost, but not exactly taking out some technical levels either. So that's going to be in focus separately. I did mention that SOC was making its way into 9, but as I suspected, 9 was a level of resistance, not just because it is the psychological area of resistance, but because we've actually used it on a number of occasions on the day, both as support and resistance. So you just knew that that was going to be a level of import. Now, what we want to see is if this one clears 9. If it clears 9 decisively, I think we can use $9 as a support level. It really will come down to the amount of volume coming in. And since we made those area highs, it's been a declining volume profile of lower highs there. So that is a little bit of trouble there, Joey, as we keep an eye on SOC into that $9 area. Very happy with my stop out on FCell as that one continues to bleed down into the low 40s. Again, I want to bring your attention to that 1035 area where the volume weighted average price is on FCell. If it does catch a bid in and around there, I could be convinced to get back in on that one as a long, but I'm going to need to see more other than just trying to place a resting order at VWAP, Joe. So keeping an eye here on DJT, we're keeping an eye on NUAI, and we are now stopped out of FCell. FCell will be my biggest winner on the day, at least so far. So we'll see if DJT can outdo that, showing 7s now on DJT. Look, there's 11s on DJT. There's 12s. Let's see if we can get a nice price spike up, take out some higher prints there. I know for a fact we're going to encounter resistance at 14.25. Look at that double top at 1135 and 1140. That reject off 14.25 on DJT. So what I'm trying to do is place resting orders so I can get price spikes up and not actually have to, punch out when the price is there. Throw the resting orders out, guys. You have nothing to lose. I know everybody believes in level 3 and the market makers are going to see your orders, this, that, and the other. I don't know, man. I don't think your orders are that big to, attract the attention of the market makers, but I'm going to throw in my resting orders there. Donald into 15 here, excuse me, looking for continuation there. Now, in the current trend here on DJT, we have a higher high and a higher low. So a 1220 candle, the high of which was 1409. This candle, 415. Prior bar low, 1386. Current bar low, 1399. Let's see if this is a trend change or it's just more consolidation, because we really haven't broken away from the trend. And it feels like here we're likely going to trade until we get either a breakout or a breakdown. 14.25 to me is the breakout area, Joey.
All right, good look there, man. Some good prints off of the lows there. I like what SLV is doing. You can see that we're waiting at 94s here on NFLX. Let's head back over to SLV. I like this name. A lot of buying pressure candles right at the 4. I'm asking for the best price possible. Might be asking for a lot here, but I'm willing to do so. I told you guys the universe ain't on a budget, so continue to do what you want to do. So there it is. Here it is.
I like that one.
Yeah. So yeah, let's be patient and wait. It's either gonna rock and roll without us, or we get to party on with these names. It's tough, man. You want to chase, but it's just extremely important. I was thinking about moving my bid up 5 cents to 94.05 just to get involved with that in this Netflix move, because at that point I could still have my stop at 93.95. Pretty tight, considering it's right at the lower wick end of that candle. But then the risk to reward, it would have been there, so we would hit a 1-to-1 or something like that right now. So I'm just going to be patient and see if these levels come into play. Apple doesn't really know what it wants to do. Microsoft is heading a little bit lower, and also Tesla. You get somewhat of a rebound. I was writing this in the chat. We can pull up my algo right now, so we'll hit this as I pull it up, because I guarantee I'm going to take this off right now because Netflix is gone. I think the only hope that I have is SLV, but it's probably going off just due to some of those individual prints. So let's pull it up and see what we got going on. Get this garbage out of here and head over to the 5-minute time frame.
Returned.
The Katina man has returned.
Food in his hand.
He's got he has his spaghetti and meatball there.
Very pleased today. It was Italian.
Italian, yeah. I mean, hey man, I'd be pleased too, brother.
Man, can we show the people?
Can we show the people what you got?
Can we show?
Oh, there goes Netflix.
Come on, Katina man. Be magnanimous.
Come on, man.
There we go.
You did come.
Joey,
what's up, brother?
look what we got over here.
Hold on, man.
There you go. You got the Italian meatballs.
Oh.
You got macaroni salad. You got the lettuce. You got what is that? Feta, Katina man? Is that feta?
Some Parmesan.
Some salad dressing
I
there.
like how you get the mac salad, though. I don't get the mac salad.
You gotta ask for the salad.
You gotta ask for that, eh?
You gotta ask your friend there for the salad there, Joey. Yeah, your friend.
That's yours.
Wow.
This guy,
That's
fly dog. But no, here comes Netflix. Oh, who hit that? That's
Fabian,
crazy.
bro. Fabian.
All right,
Fabian's doing it
94.05.
live.
You can see that base is being formed. If it does break through 94.10, then maybe you get a little bit of a whoosh to the downside.
Whoosh.
And then you wait for that price. We're still posted up on SLV at the 85 level to see if we can catch a fill on that one. Doesn't seem to be the case right now as the market is slowly rebounding. Netflix does have a nice base being formed, though. Actually, this is what I was going to do. Let's put it up on Netflix. It should pick this signal up. So NFLX, we're just pulling this up right now, and did it? Bang. Okay, so there it is, right? So there's a couple of opportunities. Did it get stopped out on this one? No, it's still in this. Okay, that doesn't really make too much sense. But yeah, that's a good signal being picked up. Let's see if we can catch a fill here. If that continues to hold, maybe I have to bid a little bit higher than what I want, go to 94.05s. We get out at 93.95, sure.
You know what's a frustrating thing? If you mentally prepare for a breakout trade and it ends up being a range trade, you don't shift, right?
That
and you
bias.
keep looking for the breakout. That's kind of what I'm suffering from with DJT at the moment, right? We got 13.99s on. It comes right into that 20 area. Actually, not even 20s, 18s. That's current bar high into 18s, but we knew we were going to expect selling at 20 to 25. And so that's what I'm going to trade this as. It's obviously a range, but I am concerned with the lower highs. The lower highs do kind of put this into flat bottom break candidate because, well, that's what basically a flat bottom break is. It's a series of lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, all the while you have that same area low, that flat bottom, hence the name flat bottom break. So keeping an eye on that. We got 99s have been wetting the beak here into the mid to high teens, but it's not exactly a breakout trade. So yeah, that's it's not good for me. I also added into NUAI. I want to build my position in and around the VWAP level for a possible move above 375. You still have higher lows on NUAI, even though it does have a tendency to breach the 10 EMA. When you look at prior area low, you are still holding general trend on NUAI. So unless this one gives up the ghost in a hurry, through the volume weighted average price, we're going to build the position for a move above the $0.75. I want to mention that one. What else? I know a lot of you guys were talking about TGL in the chat. I'm not a fan because straddling VWAP and almost no volume here. Lately, I know Bovin was telling me about SOPA. That one looks a little bit better, SOPA. So I don't have it right now on the side charts, but really depending on what I see here, it may or may not make it on. It's light on volume, Bovin. 1.93 million shares on a $1.28 name. Yeah, this isn't the best of the bunch. I see the higher lows above VWAP, technically below the pre-market high, so that doesn't work out for me, but it's not really more about that. It's more about the lack of volume on that, so I'm just going to have to forego that one right there. Let's take a beak wetter. Let's put some beak wetters, I should say, on NUAI because, well, we're holding some shares here and might as well take some if there's going to be a price spike up. How's my friend Donald doing? Well, we're still holding above 14. We're holding prior bar low. As I mentioned, prior bar low, 13.99. Current bar low, 14.05. We're showing 9s and 8s right now, depending on whether you're looking at the time and sale, or sorry, the ask or the bid. Looking for a move above a $0.25. I do feel if we get a move above the $0.25, this will change from a range trade into a breakout trade, but we got to do that first. Bovin telling me, FJet, I saw you mention that one earlier, Bovin, thank you for that, and I do apologize for everybody that was tagging me earlier. I had way too many trades on, so it was hard for me to concentrate on the chat and on the trades. FJet, this is the 1 minute on this new IPO, FJET. I don't even know what this company does, man. Show me. What is this company? Starfighters? Somebody tell me what this company does. I have no idea. I'm not going to have the time to look right now, but it's a good looker, Bovin. It did halt a couple of times, both to the upside and to the downside. This one opened up at 10:45, kind of an early start there for an IPO. But I guess, you know, if you don't have to pair all that volume behind the scenes, you can go early. Anyway, looks like it's finding support here at 12.25. It is widespread, and you also have lower highs ever since that high of the day at around 14.59. So be on the lookout here for FJET. This could be an interesting one. How's NUAI doing? Well, we added aggressively into that one, and there it goes. Takes out most of my orders, 73 unprinted and 74s unprinted. 75 high a day. Let's go ahead and wait there as well, and we're also going to wait a little bit above that, shut it to 77. Keeping an eye there. How's my friend Donald doing? Well, he's disappointing me again. Of course, I'm not talking about the president. I'm talking about the stock, DJT. Up 30, almost 34%, dropping back down though into 14 as we expected this range trade to continue. I'm going to be very much alive to this range trade now, and we're going to see what we can pick up, Joey, in the low 90s, high 80s.
Fair enough, brother. All right, so yeah, that base at 94.05 holding up there in NFLX. Looks like it wants to somewhat recover here today. We're still posted up at that same level here on SLV, on the Amex, if we're fortunate enough to get it, but it's already, I mean, 10 cents worth of risk. You climb up to 20s, you're already 2.5 to 1 at that point. So I might remove that bid, not gonna chase it. Gonna wait for this pullback off of these lows, but a nice bounce back here in the overall market. Solid opportunity on NFLX. Bree Powers, I seen what you had to say about your 575 puts on the SPY. Just understand what you're doing on that, because those are extremely out of the money and only have time value essentially on them. February is still a little bit of time, right? You have a month and a bit, couple months there to be exact. So, I mean, if you understand the game plan and you're looking to just gain time value on the contracts, then you want to see some aggressive selling, and then as soon as you get a nice percentage return, start to lock in that profit. So yeah, just be aware of the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic value. So yeah, that's what we got going on. There goes SLV climbing right back towards that previous pivot high at 59.20. Sharif, what do you got?
Joey, we got to tell them about trade the pool, because quite honestly, for far too freaking long, okay, trading meant risking your own money. I don't want to risk my own money, or not even having enough to start, Joey, and the fear of losing. Goodness gracious, it kept so many people on the sidelines. But thankfully, Because of Trade the Pool. Yeah. It is all changing, Joey. Trade the Pool is transforming how traders access the markets, especially with its limited risk trading model. Traders get to use funded capital and they trade the pool. They absorb all the downside. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, guys. We're talking about the discipline, the consistency, and the growth. And when you hit your profit target, you keep up to 70% of the profits. There is no fear. There are no barriers. There is just real opportunity. This is the revolution of limited risk trading, and it's powered by Trade the Pool, Katina, man. So get onto your browser, Chrome, Safari, whatever you need to do, and go to tradethepool.com or scan the QR code to get 10% off.
Did they actually name, is that the new one? Did they name drop the browsers, or did you just?
No, I just did it because I know you love Edge, Joey. I know you love Edge. Don't.
Brother, I had to move over to Chrome now. So we're Chrome.
Because
Chromium.
Robert, well, we're not allowed to call him Robert, so don't tell him I said that.
I'm
telling him. But he reprimanded you.
Is that what he did?
I think so. I saw it.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
Why are you looking down?
He pretty much said, yeah, your computer won't accept all the usage of Copilot, so you have to switch over to Gemini there.
Well, I think your computer's allergic to bad LLMs, so you're going to have to take ChatGPT off that one as well.
Katina Man said I remember Katina Man said I was the only one who used Copilot.
I personally think you are. You're the only one I know.
I might be the only
What is this thing that's blocking the, that's my screen, Ram. My screen is blocking the camera shot over here, eh? I think we might need to, Fabian, go to the 2-shot. See this Ram? Look.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
No, we can't have that, Joey. We got to fix that.
Push it in.
Yeah, I'm trying to move this one over a little bit.
No,
but
like
I don't
this way.
I know, but there's the other monitor over here.
No, see how it's gone now? Go back. See, Top, watch this. Is this good for you? Stop messing with it, Ramin. You're pushing it.
I thought she was just going to zoom out of the angle there. Okay.
Bang.
All right.
Now we got to figure it out.
Oh, Ram, you just made NUAI go up again. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, so we just took up right there on NUAI at 73s. This one continues to put in higher highs and higher lows, Fabian, as I did add into this one at around 68. We're looking for continuation on that one. Shout out to the Fluffsters. Fluffy Hippo says it looks fine. Well, it does look fine, but there was this like little side part there, Fluffy, that, I'm a little OCD, I do admit that, and it was bothering me, so I do apologize there. Okay, Joey, we're still holding here on Donald. I put a dip trade now at 88s to try to get money fills, but now it looks like it's defending 14. If it wants to defend 14, I'll take it, because this one kept dipping down into the low 90s, into the high 80s, and I wasn't getting filled there. So I put my order for a range trade now on DJT. The range to me is high 80s, low 90s to, let's just say mid to high teens, 14 mid to high teens. That's kind of what I see there. You being buddy retentive? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Fluffy. Buddy retentive? Where's Bears versus Bulls, Kalu asks. Bears versus Bulls, I know that he is no longer with us. I believe he had some personal stuff to take care of, quite frankly. So, I don't know where. I shot him a message after he left just to say, it's been.
What's going on?
It's been nice, yeah, because he was the mod for the channel for many
it's been nice.
Many a year. And so, I never got to meet him in person, but you talk to somebody enough, even if it's on.
He's a good dude.
He's a good dude.
Genuine
funny guy, great guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Bears versus Bulls. If he's ever watching, we miss you, brother. And the chat, hasn't been the same without you. We've been having to, do all the modding.
And I accidentally block people too, so.
You accidentally blocked people.
No, I do, man. A couple of times I accidentally did it.
Ozan, I want to, what? Sharif, I want to meet, I think you mean, the new Bears versus Ozans. You're hilarious, bro. What is going on? What does that even mean, Ozan?
What's in the water over there?
By the way, I saw a buddy of mine at the gym. I was speaking of Dallas.
This one, yeah.
He said exactly the same thing as you about Dallas.
Yeah, what did he say?
I don't mean to speak poorly about Dallas for anybody who lives there, but he said the exact same thing. He's like, it's a concrete jungle, but all the buildings are super low and so sparsely populated. You can walk and walk for like
forever,
a while and not see anybody.
There's nothing, man.
I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that. And the other thing is, he's like, Arlington is far. Like
Is
Dallas,
it?
the Cowboy
Oh,
Stadium
the
is because
stadium?
you know they're doing the
Yeah.
World Cup there, right? So that's going to be like another thing where people are really going to have to travel from downtown Dallas all the way over there.
Funny, yeah. I mean, I heard Austin's a pretty good town, so I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said to him. I'm like, I think Austin's
Austin.
eating Dallas's lunch.
It
now,
is
right?
definitely eating
Right,
Dallas's
because everybody's
lunch.
moving over there.
Dude, I'll tell you, this is what Dallas is. It's like a little bit bigger Mississauga core.
But Mississauga is nice, Joey.
Dude, trust me, that's what I'm
Square
telling
One Center is
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, that's what I'm telling you, what it roughly is.
What's happening
The
there?
timing
baby?
is off, man.
Hold on. So make the comparisons a little clearer here, because I don't get it.
So like, you have a couple of like residential buildings, and you have the big mall. The rest is more or less corporate buildings, but I'm comparing
Understood.
it in kind of in a size
like
aspect.
a commercial
right?
low building kind of thing?
Yeah.
Understood.
I mean, they have the Salesforce thing. There's nothing really going on. It's a couple hotel chains and stuff
Seriously,
like that. Yeah, I mean, Dallas, man.
Like if I ever go down there, I'm going to stay in Arlington. What was the point of going to Dallas and then...
You're not missing out on anything over there in Dallas.
see what I
man.
mean?
But once...
Boston's worse, says Fabian.
No,
that was
Austin. Austin's where it's at.
What'd you say?
Austin is where it's at.
Austin,
Austin's
is worse?
is where
Everybody
it's
says
at. No,
Austin's really
no,
nice,
it's where
Fabian.
it's at.
Oh,
You're
where
saying
it's
where
at.
it's at. Yeah.
Understood.
Oh,
The
yeah,
bee's
man.
knees.
Wow, what a recovery here, guys. I mean, Netflix getting that bounce, SLV, so a lot of missed opportunities. I'm talking what-if history here, but there's no reason why we shouldn't be hella green right now. We were posting up yesterday. We were catching fills left, right, and center, and today at every level that I post up on, getting nada, so no love.
Nada.
Yeah, so no love. But yeah, Chicago, I mentioned Chicago. I love that city. A big shout out to that. You get the thumbs up in Chi-Town, and then you get kind of getting the thumbs down in Dallas. Dallas, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's kind of the way it is there, Joey.
Yeah, man.
All right, guys, let's get back into some trading. NUAI just touched the high of the day again, or sorry, 70. No, it got back into 75s. I didn't take the print at 75 because it didn't cross. So the high of the day remains the same on NUAI, but it is stair-stepping up. I think that I should probably have some dip trades ready to go for this one because it does have a tendency to make area highs and then revert back down. If that's going to be the case, might as well get some get a better cost basis is what I'm saying there ineloquently. I do apologize. So let's go ahead. I'm going to set up more dip trades over here on NUAI. I want to say in the high 60s. We're going to go ahead. Most of the time I'm going to wait at 69, but we're going to wait a little bit lower over here at 67. Let's see what we get on that bad boy. How's my friend Donald doing? Well, my friend Donald now has been holding 14 for the last, I want to say, 5 candles. This is the 5th candle where DJT has been holding 14. Does that change the range trade narrative? A little bit, because it was dipping down Ram into the 80s and in the 90s. Now it's still not clearing the quarter dollar, as we can see. Still, putting in, those mid-teen prints. But the fact that it's not dropping below 14 could mean, those bottoming tail candles that we were seeing all littered from 11:15 till 12:20, an hour of bottoming tail candles may mean something here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Get it, Katina Man. The Katina Man is still long Rivian, guys. $18.44. And you want to know what Rivian is at right now, Katina Man? It's at $18.94. So your boy over there on the other side of the desk is printing. We're going to shout out Katina Man. Hope he prints up multiple storms. Randy also told me he punched into a few hundred more shares today on, I think he said 100 or 200 more shares on Rivian. So we're going to hope he prints up several storms as well. Shout out to my man Randy, who said, by the way, in case you guys want to know anything about this, he's going to sell. Well, he got a new Cayenne, right? He got the, what do you get? You got the Cayenne, right? The new one? He got a new Cayenne, but he also has the old, what's that other one? He has the other one as well. I forget the name of it. And he's going to sell that. It's a diesel engine. He's going to sell that when he's getting the R2, when the R2 is out. So Randy's going to be able to come on the show and give us exactly what the R2 is and how it's faring. Okay, guys, get into the chat. Fabian keeps putting that up there, so I'm just going to talk about it. Please vote for your favorite tickers every day. Tesla's leading the way with Micron and DJT. Big Bear AI is up there, as well as NVIDIA. ATHA, a small cap gapper that basically did nothing during the afternoon, also up there as well. Make sure to vote. Get into the chat, but you got to throw in that $ before you vote. Keeping an eye here on Donald. Okay, so gave up 14 again. Now this one is a topping tail candle, but there it is. Still trading as a range, a little below 14, a little above 14. Separately, NUAI, we got a couple of prints to the high there. Neither the dip trade has filled nor the profit taker at 75 is filled as well. So be on the lookout. There we go. Great call out by you guys. Throw your names in the chat. We're seeing everything here. We're seeing CGC, LUNAR, ASTS, RKLB, SODN. We got NVDA, ONDS, TSLA, DARA. We got YCBD. You guys are voting for everything under the sun, and that's exactly what we want. We want a plethora of different names so that we don't speak about the same names every day. Get into the chat right now and vote for your favorite tickers every day, and then we'll talk about them on the afternoon rundown, Jeff.
Go heads prevail always, man. So we go and grab some H2O, a little bit more H2O right there. Cool the old system down, just watching things go in our favor, not catching fills, and get to you. But times it's not even 1 o'clock yet, so we still have a couple of hours. Thanks for voting for me there, Sports and Stonks. And I mean, we're one trade away from going back to the positive, and Apple forming a really key indecision print right at around the highs. So we're going to keep that an eye out on that. We're going to keep an eye out on NVDA, but a nice bounce. It's unfortunate I had to remove that bid here on SLV. Gorb, I'm really glad that you smashed that, brother. Nice work there, brother, on that one. The Hulkster, brother. But yeah, other than that, guys, let's see what we got going on. A lot of volatility here today. We get that aggressive selling not too long ago, approximately half an hour ago, and then now we're rebounding relatively aggressively. So you can see AAPL from the top end of this range right here sells into the volume weighted average price and then bounces right back up to the top end. So aggressive stuff. You get 15 minutes, 20 minutes of selling met immediately by 20 minutes of buying, and very little resistance on some of this pullback, guys. So keep an eye out on that. Wait for those indecision prints. Post up at your levels. Don't chase, and find something that's going to work for you. Tesla climbing back up. Yeah, I'm looking. It's not far off of the high of the day, guys, at all. I mean, we're about 1/3% from that specific level, and a couple other key ones. So keep an eye out on it. There might be an additional short. This could be just a cover rally, and then you take an additional move lower, or it could be a full-on recovery. You've absorbed enough liquidity, and you're looking to take that next leg higher. I think that's important to note. Be patient, wait for that level to come into play, and see what you guys can stir up in today's stock market pot tree.
I like that stirring up comment there, Joey.
Thanks, man.
I'm just looking at some of the broader market at large, looking for some outsized movers because my stocks are moving super slow today. So I'm not just going to keep commenting about where the price, where they're at. You know what's standing out to me, Joey? Affirm. It's up. Man. It's up 8 1/4.
Okay. Oh,
that's really
no
interesting.
way.
I'm assuming it has something to do possibly with the CPI print that we got today. 8 1/4 on. I don't really see much in the way of news from a firm, at least not from today. I see yesterday got a price target neutral. There, not really much. So a firm up big on the day, 8 and change, looking to go 8 1/2. Looking at some other names, Upstart and Affirm almost looking identical. Upstart 8.4, Affirm 8.2.
Okay.
So some very good strength in those names today. So keep your eye on those. Kalua, who is Mr. Okay, well, he's a guest. He's going to be on shortly. Appreciate that. Drop Systems saying YCBD. Let's check YCBD. Nice breakout there on YCBD. Not a bad look at all. In fact, let's take a quick look. This was a bit of holdover, Fabian, for multiple days. We're still below the pre-market high, so we still have to get above that 255, 256 area, but a great recovery and a great hold here of higher lows, basically, since the area low on the day when we made that, what time was that? About 10:20, higher lows on every pop. Clearly, we're using volume weighted average price here as an area of resistance, but it looks like that's gave way, and now we're basically higher highs and higher lows, looking to take out 245. Good call out there on YCBD. I think I'm going to take off. Who am I going to take off here? Dawn. Let's take off Dawn, put YCBD in case this one really breaks out. Then we could definitely take maybe a pre-market high break or two above that. Nothing doing here on NUAI, break even on the remaining amount of the trade. Same thing here with DJT as it continues to dilly-dally at around 14, guys. All right, Joey and I are going to have to pause for a second. As you can see, new guest behind us with Adara. We're going to send it to the big desk.
Definitely been a very hot topic lately in the market, and so we're very excited to have here the executive chairman of Total Metals Corp, Michael Dane. Michael, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Very happy to have you on the show. So let's just get right into it here and talk about the $2.5 billion regional renaissance within the Red Lake District. So how is your team at Total Metals leveraging this massive opportunity?
So we're right between Kinross's Great Bear deposit and First Mining Spring Pole Lake. They're combined putting in $2.5 billion worth of new infrastructure for their two new mines. Because we're right between them, we get the benefits of all the roads, the power lines, the town expansions they'll be doing, the mill expansions. They'll have to build two mills just because of where everything is located. And being right in the middle with our electrolode property, that gives us a lot of advantages of cheaper infrastructure for us while the big guys are building their mines.
You said the old guard has returned. Can you explain that comment to our audience in terms of what it means for your projects and for investors?
Sure. Well, I started in Red Lake in '94, and Tim Toomey, Rob Penzak, and I were all exploration geologists with at Rob McEwen's Gold Corp. And we all started right around the time of the high-grade zone discovery. And we were very fortunate to be there at a time when gold was, I think, $280 an ounce. But we found 2 ounces per ton gold in this mine. So it was an exciting time, and we developed a lot of techniques for interpreting data, how to target gold, how to promote gold. And by putting the old guard together, the old team together, it feels like the band is back together. And we're getting in through our first 3 projects. I think we're going to be targeting 4 or 5 more acquisitions in the next year. But we're targeting what we believe is undervalued, higher grade assets. So we're looking at 10 gram per ton material is a nice grade for us at $6,000 gold Canadian, where we're almost at today. That gives you a lot of upside, a lot of value, a lot of return for your investors.
It's actually a great transition as well into our next topic, because I want to talk about Total Metals' data-driven approach to acquisitions and exploration targeting. So how are you using modern and historic data to unlock value, especially in a market that is super bullish on gold?
Well, and it's kind of fortunate that Rob and Tim and I have added Colin Bowditch to the team. Colin's an 81-year-old geologist, and he is a VMS specialist, and one of our projects has a lot of zinc and copper on it. And he knows how to interpret that data, but he also takes a common sense approach of not just going for the conductors, but how do the conductors look relative to what's been drilled, combining it all together. Then you bring in Rob or Tim and myself, and we look at a bigger picture, wider regional picture. How does it fit into the regional structures? Does it tie into what Great Bear has? Does it tie into what Spring Pole Lake is? Is it similar to the structures at the Red Lake mine? Because there are dominant structures all through that part of northwestern Ontario. And once you start putting all the pieces of the Lego together, the picture evolves quite clearly.
That in mind, I want to talk a little bit more about these acquisitions, specifically the West Hawk Lake and High Lake projects. How do these acquisitions come to be, and how do they fit into your overall strategy? So
I was very fortunate. I reconnected with Goldcorp's old investment bankers, Gene McBurney and Michael Weckerly, and they started a new EMD this year. They were working with a company called McFarland Lake that was buying the Juby deposit near Timmins. It's quite a large, low-grade resource, and these are quite high grade but very small resources that we've acquired, where we feel that we can probably do 10 times the volume and grade that's there now just with exploration. We feel comfortable that that's our specialty. That's what we want to go to. We really don't want to go for very large low grade deposits. One thing we learned when we were at Goldcorp is high grade is king. So being in these deposits in the current market, it's, I think, the right place to be at the right time.
I also want to ask you, what about these 2 projects, other than what you kind of said here, really stood out to you and your team that others might have missed? And what would you want potential investors to know about these acquisitions?
Yeah, most of these targets and on the properties already, there's I would say close to 50,000 meters of drilling, but most of it's very shallow, less than 300 feet. In Red Lake, we were down over 7,000 feet vertical. So when you kind of look at how deep you can go on a gold mine and profitably extract the gold, we're really shallow here in Kenora and in Manitoba. So I think it's cheap exploration, great infrastructure, close to the Trans-Canada Highway, but the cost of drilling should be much cheaper than going to Nunavut or northern Quebec or far north Ontario.
Is there anything else that you would like potential investors here to know about Total Metals?
Well, I think you put together a team. David Burgess joined us as well, and he was actually the QP who wrote the 43-101 technical report for McFarland Lake on the West Hawk and High Lake properties. He's now on our board of directors, so he's been able to give us a lot of guidance on these projects as well. So a lot of domain experience internally. And I'd say being on the older side, our team does a little better because we have information in our heads that doesn't even exist on the internet. So we have that little bit of an advantage that old guys have that the young guys have to go look for.
Very exciting update. Thank you so much here, Michael Dane, Executive Chairman of Total Metals Corp, for being here with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that,
Good job.
Dara and Michael. Much appreciated. Good information as well, too, guys. Very much appreciated. Now, as for the overall market, take a little attempt here on the NVDA short. Didn't go, so we got out of that one. 10 cents worth of risk. Take a loss on that. So we post up on that. We get the fill that we were looking for, but it just didn't work out. So yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm down less than half my risk, total daily risk here, and I'm thinking, like, just because I am getting a little obviously agitated and everything, I might just not even trade, but I don't want to eat my words too quick. So I'm going to sit on my hands for a little bit. We're going to start the news, I'm sure, relatively soon there, Sharif, so I'm happy to get involved with that. So
yeah, I know. We should be starting, Joey, but like I'm locked into these positions.
You're tapped in? All right, yeah.
That's the thing. So I'm looking to resolve this in one direction or another. NUAI, definitely not as I don't want to say volatile, that's not the right word, but as uncertain. This one's above VWAP, it's putting in higher lows, it clearly has an uptrend. It's DJT that's bamboozling me. It's a range trade. The range shifts from time to time. About 1390, as you can see, kind of the low end. I tried to get the money fill at 88s. That wasn't the right move. I should have been trying to get the money fills in the 90s. But that new range is new, right? And here we go, moving up into 14. Phoebe, can we take off the bumper? Yeah, just for the position board. Thank you, I appreciate it. So we got 99s on DJT. It's showing 11s, but the higher lows are decent here. Especially with the bottoming tail candles now feeling like they are below 14 as opposed to below this 99 area. So what we were seeing earlier, Fabian, on the bottoming tails, where they were coming into the 80s and the 90s. Now the bottoming tails are just breaching 14, and then the price is moving above 14. It doesn't change the fact that the seller is still there in the high teens and in the low 20s. But what I'm seeing now is the resumption of that higher low kind of trend that we've been putting in since that candle about 11:15. So I don't want to take it out quickly, knowing that we can get a nice price spike up through 14 a quarter. But what I'm trying to do and do better is to pick up some at the money fills, the money fills that I perceive to be money fills, towards the lower end of the range. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel my 1388 dip trade. I don't think that that's accurate anymore. Let's take that one off. We'll cancel that one, and then we'll put it a little bit lower right now. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to, a little bit higher, pardon me. Let's see if we can get some money fills at around that, high 1390s, give or take, in and around there. All right, good. Price spike up here on NUAI as we added more into that one. I appreciate that, Katina, man. Oh, really? Oh, just tell me, brother. This is fantastic. Yeah. MSOS is halted to the upside, guys. Big move here on MSOS. It's halted to the downside, 1629. Big move down here on MSOS. We're going to go to Adara. I'm seeing an executive order leaked here ahead of the announcement.
I haven't seen the leak yet, but I have seen a lot of commentary in terms of what this might have to do with it. Looks like it's going to be more CBD related. I did mention earlier today as well that I was seeing Washington Post report something to this effect. Apparently, this administrative action is going to focus on, quote, increasing medical research for medical marijuana and CBD to better inform patients and doctors. There's another element of this that I'm also seeing reported, again, not confirmed. A White House official reportedly saying that the CMS will also be announcing a model that will allow a number of CMS beneficiaries to benefit from receiving CBD under doctor recommendations. So it seems more CBD than cannabis specifically. Back to you.
It's definitely interesting there if it's CBD. I don't think that moves the needle, but it is one step closer. And I got to tell you, it's not something I didn't expect. And you and I have always talked about the fact that we were a little surprised that it would be the Republican Party or a president from the Republican Party to be the ones to kind of,
push that needle.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's completely possible. It's just I was surprised by it, that's all. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. But what are you looking at, Joey?
Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll here. I tried that one short. He got stopped out pretty quick on NVDA. We take the full stop out on there. Not too sure. I don't want to reschedule anything. All right, so yeah, I got it pulled up. Oh wow, that's lengthy. So yeah, let's just see what we got going on. I'm sitting on my hands right now, waiting for a quality opportunity to come onto my lap and see if we can take advantage of it. I think I'm just gonna avoid NVDA today. I haven't been trading it as of late. So yeah, I mean, there it goes, still climbing a little bit higher. And now for some exciting news out of Canada for the sophisticated traders on the stream. Beta Pro by Global X Canada, Canada's largest provider of leveraged inverse and inverse leveraged ETFs, has just launched 6 new triple leveraged ETFs offering 3x bull and 3x bear exposure to the S&P and TSX 60, semiconductors, and on U.S. Treasuries. Even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st. Plus, the U.S.-focused strategies use currency hedging, offering the potential for pure performance and exposure. If you're a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca 3x daily to learn some more, guys. All right, Machiavelli, Mike Peter Ryder, he's out. All right, have a good one, Machiavelli. Grant Ratcliffe, I don't know if that's necessary, but nor is that ever going to happen, but please don't do that, please and thank you. And yeah, I mean, it's not horrible, but did you see what he said?
There's a push for that. You realize this, right? There's a whole push.
Bro, weren't they doing that in the West Coast?
Yeah, well, they did. Okay, so they decriminalized simple possession. They had to get authorization from the federal government to do that. So they made or I think it was Vancouver or all of British Columbia, a special zone for criminal law, because criminal law is exclusive domain of the Fed in this country. It's not that way in the South, where each state obviously has dual area of competency. So they had to give them special permission, and then they retracted. They're like, no, take it away. It's too wild.
Things were getting disastrous over there, Sharif. Yeah, I mean, I heard that it's apparently just an absolute hellhole sometimes over there in West Vancouver, especially with the narcotics use. So you don't want to give people that advantage, because they'll take advantage of it, or that privilege, and they'll take advantage of it. So keep an eye out on that.
All right.
Weren't they putting it in vending machines and stuff?
I think they were. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they were.
That's crazy if they did that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. People are saying Broadcom's getting legs. I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's up above the volume weighted average price. It's just south of 330, Katina, man. All right, here's the deal. We're gonna start the news. I've set up my stops on DJT as well as NUAI. I put my profit takers as well. We'll see what these do. If it loses trend, it loses trend. I'll get stopped out. I've thrown everything on there. Let me just load up the news, and then we'll get right down to business, because it is a heavy news day, I'm sure, as you guys already know. Let me put this on a screen that I don't need to trade off, and that's gonna be this one over here. There we go. Throw this on SOC. All right, let's get down to work, baby. Micron with a blowout quarter, and they're guiding even more impressively for the next quarter. They reported EPS, guys, of 478, a share beating expectations easily of 395. The CEO says, look, it was driven by strong pricing as well as obviously AI demand for high bandwidth memory. Their revenue look even better. 13.64 billion, topping the consensus estimate of 12.84 billion and marking a 57% year-over-year bump on that top line number. So needless to say, a top and bottom line beat. Net income, that profitability, that take-home money, $5.24 billion on the quarter, not the year, the quarter. Compare that with the $1.87 billion they took home last year on the quarter. That is an over 100% increase, with the CEO, Sanjay Mehrotra, saying, look, we're expanding our AI data center capacity, and that is driving a significant increase in demand for the high-performance memory. Now, let's talk about that guide. Equally as impressive, if not more impressive, in fact. Q2, guiding $18.7 billion in revenue, absolutely crushing the street's estimate of $14.2 billion, more than almost $4.5 billion higher, with their EPS 75% above consensus estimate. Obviously, they haven't realized any of this yet, but this is the guide off which we trade. $8.42 for EPS. The street was looking for $4.78. Fantastic beat. Better than expected there. It's signaling accelerating momentum rather than a one-off spike. They are, Micron that is, one of 3 global suppliers of high bandwidth memory. The other, of course, are the 2 Korean companies, South Korean companies, SK Hynix and Samsung. And the deal is, there is such tight supply for HBM and this higher bandwidth memory that they stopped selling completely direct to consumers. So they're only selling to large corporations, hyperscalers, et cetera, and they're selling because of the demand at premium pricing. Cloud memory sales doubled year over year, more than $5.25 billion. Their core data center sales, Joey, up 4% year over year. Yeah. A much more modest growth, $2.38 billion.
Yeah, I mean revenue quarter over quarter up 21%. EPS pretty good beat there as well too. Gross margins up to 56.8%, 11 points. A lot good going on here. But what I was thinking about this trade here, Sharif, is that, I mean, it was an exciting move to the top end here in Micron, but I just feel like the AI trade just needs to take a little bit of a breath. That's just my opinion, but everything else is looking pretty good. DRAM revenue you were touching on as well, up 69% year over year. 79% of total revenue is coming from that alone. So a lot good going on with Micron. Let's pull up the actual chart and see what we got going on. Sorry guys, I'm in a trade right now. You can see that I'm in Netflix, but what we have on a daily is a substantial move. So just be careful, because we haven't broken through that previous high of 264 roughly, and you're starting to form an indecision print. We got relatively close, but then price started to reject it. So there might be somewhat of a gap fill here play, and then maybe some more sideways price action. I think tomorrow's going to tell a lot. If you do happen to open up on the top end of the range, watch out for a potential breakout here in Micron, guys.
MSOS halted again. It looks like it's 575. I'm just trying to confirm. 574. Halt level 574 on MSOS. It's really bleeding. The chart, yeah, just letting them know, Ram, that it's halted. We're going to go on to the next story. Oracle, faces data center funding scrutiny after the Blue Owl report. This is older from yesterday, but we're gonna give some details here. So it dropped big yesterday, I think 5.5%, after reports that Blue Owl Capital will no longer fund their $10 billion Michigan data center project. Fresh doubt, the Financial Times was the one that reported this, which raised among market participants, of course, fresh doubts around how Oracle plans to finance their very aggressive AI data center expansion. Oracle denied immediately, almost immediately when we got this, that Blue Owl had, quote, walked away, calling the report, quote, unequivocally false, quote, close quote. The company said it's progressing as planned with a different company called Related Digital as their development partner, and the equity negotiations remain on schedule with them. They emphasized, Oracle that is, that there is strong interest from other equity partners, and they framed the project as highly competitive amongst those other partners. But look, aggressive scaling by Oracle, a lot of it is tied to OpenAI and OpenAI's workloads. But recent reports suggest completion timelines for that build-out may be slipping. And there's also questions about, OpenAI's continued dominance as the market leader in large language models, especially with Gemini 3 coming out. So if that is the case and OpenAI doesn't continue to grow their revenue as scheduled, are they still going to be in a position to be able to follow that same build-out schedule with the same kind of cost? I think they've earmarked over $1 trillion in build-outs over like the next 10 years. But that is really kind of concerning the market. So it's not an Oracle-specific story. It's Oracle's kind of the conduit into the overall, AI trade risks. Oracle, to bring it back to them, they're down about 45%, at least at the time of the writing of this article, off the highs. And they're this was what really stood out to me. Remember the credit default swaps during the great financial crisis with mortgages?
Yes. Yes.
So Oracle's 5-year...
I'm not lying. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Oracle's 5-year credit default swaps more than doubled since late September, signaling a risk debt concerns by the market, of course, and investors are increasingly focused on how they're going to do all this, Joey.
Yeah, I think Wall Street's just really worried about Oracle possibly biting off more than they can chew. The cost of them to obviously meet all the infrastructure is going to be through the roof, and the margins are going to be extremely tight. They have a lot of obligations that they have to meet. Oracle is down 48% off of that high. So if you look at it from a technical standpoint, this stock needs to double in order to just get back to where it previously was. The guides are aggressive. Adara agrees with that. She doesn't like the guides. I agree as well. So keep an eye on what Oracle is going to be doing in the near future, because come next earnings report, it's going to be a massive teller on the direction of this stock and how much more they're actually going to be spending in order to meet the demands in the infrastructure that they need to meet their obligations with OpenAI. So keep an eye out on Oracle, guys.
Absolutely, Joey. All right, Adara, give us your take on Oracle. Sorry, Ram. Just take your time. DJT towards the top end of the range again. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I have to say here, Sharif, I kind of do think it is mostly an Oracle thing. Like, I know it's about the whole AI trade, but what company missed revenue 2 quarters in a row? That would be Oracle. Yes, they got EPS beat this time, but they did miss on EPS last quarter. The only reason they had that massive push to the all-time high that they're now down roughly 50% from is purely because of that insane guide that quarter, which again, they gave alongside a double miss. So I think with ORCL, you really do have to mention the actual earnings, or rather lack of concrete earnings here. The other thing I want to say with Oracle, specifically with regards to this data center, like they keep talking about this cloud infrastructure revenue. Joe just mentioned the guidance. I've been incredibly critical of the guidance, and I think because a lot of it does not really math, for lack of a better term. But even here, if you look at this fiscal 2026 revenue, this pink, I guess the headline is above it, but the point is, this whole point of this infographic is to kind of show the actual revenue we've had reported in the sector versus what they think they're going to be getting by fiscal 2030. And I've done the math for fiscal 2026. This is prior to the report that we got like last week. We are, as of this most recent quarter, we're really not poised to get this unless Oracle's posting at least $5 billion a quarter for the next 2 quarters in this segment, which they're not. They're posting around $4 billion. So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens here. But either way, I think ORCL, it's almost impossible at this point for them not to disappoint, at least in the near term, with their AI and cloud infrastructure. However, on the flip side of that, if they do actually manage to pull something out, I think it'll be a good look. But we keep seeing these reports about this, and none of them are positive, which does make me wonder. I think there's a big asterisk here.
Thank you very much. Let's go on to the next story. Very similar, of course, and related, because we're going to talk about OpenAI. Of course, OpenAI, not a publicly traded company, and that's why I included the Microsoft technicals on the morning note. Hopefully, it will be a public company sooner rather than later. As Altman was challenging everybody to short a stock, I think he may want to rethink that now. They have reportedly, OpenAI that is, held preliminary discussions about raising capital at an eye-watering valuation of $750 billion. Questions? The valuation of $750 billion is for them to raise up to $100 billion. That would be a roughly 50% jump from their last prior funding round where they were valued at $500 billion. That wasn't that long ago. It was in October. So a big move up there. I mean, I have all sorts of questions about this, as I am seeing OpenAI and ChatGPT in specific really struggle lately to kind of hold their lead, at least from the way that I use it. Anyway, they're laying the groundwork for what could become one of the largest IPOs in history. maybe rivaling the SpaceX IPO that we're all waiting for. They're both valued or projected to come to market at around $1 trillion. We'll have to wait and see if that even happens. OpenAI could file with regulators as early as the second half of 2026. The company recently completed a $6.6 billion share sales, which allowed their current and former employees to monetize their holdings. So, Joey, Microsoft, the biggest still, hyperscaler investor in OpenAI, but as we saw yesterday with the Amazon headline, they're not a one-trick pony anymore. They're buying possibly some Trainium chips here, and maybe that NVIDIA reliance that we've been talking about maybe dwindling a little bit. Does that play into the ASICs trade?
Yeah, but it probably, possibly. I mean, there's a lot going on with Sam Altman and company. I think that he was the leader at some point, then he's starting to get leapfrogged by Gemini and other large language models. He's in a tough race. We know ChatGPT, what is it, 5.2 that just was released, I believe it was?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 5.2, not well received. I agree with that. I'm liking what Gemini is doing a little bit more. It's going to be really tough for him because if he continuously gets leapfrogged and ChatGPT doesn't turn out to how people are expecting it to be, he doesn't have the ability to monetize it in certain ways where he can start to pay off some of this debt because he's heavily into the debt markets as well too. This stock at the IPO I think is going to be extremely bullish, but what comes after that once they start releasing earnings reports, if they're spending too much money and not bringing enough in, it could be big time trouble for Sam.
And before we get Adara's comment, I know she wants to comment on this, but this is interesting in the way that I use it. I'll give you an example. Every day I do the morning note, and I want to create an infographic for the morning note.
Yes.
Up until a couple of weeks ago, if I said, show me or put a picture of Elon Musk disappointed, like say Tesla had a bad headline. I want Elon Musk to look a little disappointed. It no longer will allow me to generate images of real people, despite all the other LLMs doing it. I'm not asking for anything bad here. I'm just asking for him to look frowning. Okay, that's one. Two, when you ask it specific things like basic stuff, okay, breakout right now on DJT, there it goes, we're holding from 98s. That's what I waited. Look for the break of the freaking range. Holy, that took the entire freaking show. Unreal. Now we're positive on the day. Oh my goodness. Here comes the breakout now. Look for the move into the 40s. We did, top out at the 30s earlier in the day, but I think that here we are moving into the high 30s. Look for continuation now into the 40s. I'm going to wet the beak here. Oh, I don't want to take out too quickly, Joey. We took out a little bit too much there. All right, so let's set up now just south of the $0.50, and I'm going to wait a little bit north of the $0.50 as well. There's 41, 42, 43 showing up, 44 is 47, Joey. Can we get a little bit higher? Can we get much higher? Let's go, man. We reject the 47 area and I don't get the print. Good continuation though on DJT. Here we go. What a breakout candle that was, man. That took a long time. All right. Positive on it now. Happy.
All right, there you go.
Let's let this one run. So I'm gonna put my orders out, and if it wants to keep going, we can keep going. There's the print, guys. There it is through the $0.50. Now I'm setting up in the high 50s, and I'm setting up in the high 70s. Let's look for continuation here on DJT. But to bring it back, I asked it something super simple. That Faraday bag I told you about. I was trying to tell my mom Dukes how to make a Faraday bag because she's worried about leaving the keys by the door because all those people that come there and scan your keys and whatever. So there's a way to make it through like aluminum or something like that. She asked it and it was like blocking her. It wasn't telling her. So they filtered the hell out of this thing. They've made it super annoying. And none of their competitors are doing the same thing. So what am I going to do? What's the natural thing that you do when the LLM that you were basically using every day the same way changes on you? You're going to go to another one. It's that simple. And you know what? Quite frankly, I'm thinking about asking Brendo to cancel the ChatGPT membership to get an XAI one. I want to get a Grok one.
Right. You don't like
I've been using the free version of Grok every day, and it's fantastic. It's fast AF. It gives me proper images.
That's crazy.
Why, Ram? What did I do? Why does my hair look like that? But thank you.
That's a good look.
Oh boy, that was funny. I appreciate you there. So in any event, man, so that's my little 2 cents. I think he's ruining the product. And here's why. I got a bit of a theory. He's got a lot of money that came in lately, Joey. And all that money
so now
comes
he's
with
relaxed.
strings freaking attached. They'll be
Yeah.
like, no, don't do this. No, we tried your LLM and it gave me some secret potion for drugs. And they're I don't know, I'm just throwing anything out there. But he's filtering the hell out of this thing. He's putting all these checks into it, and it doesn't feel like it's even usable anymore, at least for me. So those are my 2 cents. I don't like ChatGPT anymore. I'm begrudgingly using it because I've set up my morning routine around it. But let me tell you, if it continues in this way, I'm going to change and I'm going to go with something else. Do you have a comment, or we go to Adara?
We can head over to Adara.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk about this because I find it pretty interesting, this story immediately after Oracle, right? Because they're all kind of about AI spending, and I think also Oracle and OpenAI are really at the center of that, this kind of circular spending, right, that we've talked about, that we know Michael Burry was looking at. Oracle was certainly one of the names he mentioned. I think with this OpenAI, like, sure, that's great, they're getting so much money, but again, I think unless we start to see some concrete results, like, sure, Oracle's got those massive remaining performance obligations, a lot of which are OpenAI, but again, they're remaining. The company is still missing revenue, right? So the reason I bring up Oracle here is because I do think it's all very interconnected. Unless we start to see some of this money being put to use, as Sharif said, into the product or, with some of their partners, I don't know how much more money OpenAI is going to get. And I'm going to be honest, I think unless they really turn around this image, I actually wonder about how well received that IPO is going to be. And I'm not saying they're not going to do it, but I wonder if this is going to be kind of more of a bullish than a circle, if you catch my drift when it comes to IPO reception. We're going to have to wait and find out. But yeah, I think that right now, specifically with OpenAI and Oracle, they're all both on pretty thin ice. And I think unless we see results, I will continue to be skeptical, but I think also probably some other people will become skeptical as a result.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, and I got to tell you something else too, man. I mean, I had something to say. Oh no, you did it again. Let it go. Do it again. Do it again. I think you're good this time.
Oh yeah, we got it, baby.
Hey, good job, Joe.
Yeah,
all right. I forgot. I had a point, but I forgot. If that comes back to me, I'll
it'll come
talk
back.
about it. Let's talk about Medline, that IPO from yesterday, MDLN, and how well received it was. Ended up closing up on the day. I don't know where it's at right now. Let's take a quick look here, Joey. MDLN, the ticker. Okay, we're down 1%, but we're above 40 bucks, man. Okay. In case you don't know, there was an IPO yesterday, the biggest one of the year, and in fact, the largest IPO in more than 4 years. Of course, shares surged over 41%, but that 41% is not from the open price, which was $35, the price we all got on the floor, but from $29. That's the IPO price at the institutional level. So it was up 41% from that price. It's also raised $6.2 billion for the company, makes it the biggest IPO globally this year, outdoing the cattle IPO, which was on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, the Hang Seng. The CEO of the company, this dude's name is Jim Boyle, and he's positioned Medline, his words, not mine, as the Costco of healthcare, and they use a membership-style model, and they emphasize their private label products, and revenue is split fairly between selling Medline-branded surgical and medical products, get it, Ram, and managing the supply chain services, so they do both. I'll submit to you the supply chain service management, a higher margin product than their actual physical products. They have delivered, I should say, consistent revenue growth over years, and they operate at a solid profitability level. Jim Cramer had some comments about them yesterday on Mad Money, but that was all good news, right? Is everything good about this company? No. Even before the IPO came out, management was saying they expect $150 to $200 million headwind next year as a result of tariffs, as many of their products are brought in from overseas. You guys want to guess from where? Of course, China. So this creates a bit of an issue for a company who's trading at 45 times its earnings and has only delivered, albeit profitable, they have been profitable, they only give low double-digit growth. The fact that they're low double digits and the fact that they got an almost $200 million tariff headwind next year, do they deserve a 45 times multiple?
I don't know. That's a good question, man. 45 times, big time tariff headwinds, a lot of the products coming in from China. So all we can say is that the stock may be expensive right now, Sharif.
Sure,
Trading at
well
45 times, $40.94. I mean, we've seen some crazy PEs in the past, whether it be with AMD trading at like 1,200 times or something. Remember when we were looking at that?
Yep.
But then you also have names at Google that were trading at like 23 times, right? And then sure enough, they skyrocket into new levels.
Right.
What's going on with Medline? I think you have to be a little bit more patient. There'll probably be some selling because we know after the IPOs, we've seen a lot of aggressive selling in a lot of these names, whether it be Circle, Figma, CoreWeave. What else did we get? Those were three of the big ones. I know we had at least one or two more.
Oh yeah, there was
and not very many of them. I think the one that held up the strongest was CoreWeave. Why? Because it's a big part of this AI play. I think Medline will come in a little bit, maybe not right away, but eventually it will, so it can fit into that multiple.
That's fair, man.
Yeah.
I respect that, especially with that kind of multiple. Let's talk about Eli Lilly, Ram. They're advancing their oral GLP-1 strategy, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows on this. I'm going to show you why in a second. This pill, even at the very optimistic trial phase, is not as good as the injectable. So I don't know if it's going to have a big of a market. Experimental daily dose obesity pill called orforglipron helped patients maintain most of their prior weight loss after switching off the injectable GLP-1s. Formally filed for the FDA approval for the pill for obesity, and they've received from the FDA a priority review voucher. We spoke about that before. All the data that's coming out is from a late phase 3 trial, but here's the deal. Patients who switched from Novo Nordisk's Wegovy to Lilly's pill, the experimental one we're talking about here, regained about 2 pounds on average at the end of the 52-week follow-up. And then patients who transitioned from Lilly's own Zepbound regained more weight, averaging around 11 pounds of weight gain after switching from the injectable version of the GLP-1 to the oral version. Now, we've been talking a lot about how the oral versions are really gonna have a bigger market. People don't wanna prick themselves, yada, yada, yada. But when you're given this kind of data that you're not losing as much weight, is that gonna move the needle? So while orforglipron produces less absolute weight loss than the weekly injections, the company argues its value lies in being needle-free and long-term maintenance option. Analysts view this as a direct threat to Novo Nordisk's semaglutide franchise. And the safety profile apparently was decent. It was safe and tolerable. Most of the issues are the same issues that people have with GLP-1s, which is gastrointestinal. The discontinuation rates as well were comparable or better than the placebo, so showing, people were sticking on it. But unlike the oral semaglutide, orforglipron is not a peptide drug, which allows for easier absorption and no dietary restrictions. Another kind of positive you could have there, because that's not the same case for the other one. Joey, Eli Lilly touched a trilly, a little above, a little bit below. What do you make of this, though? The fact that the oral, not as good.
Yeah, but I think we were talking about that right out of the gate with this, Sharif, when the pill was looking to come into play, is that it's just not as effective as the injectable, right? But there is some other benefits as well. People don't like pricking themselves. Storage costs that can increase margins as well too. But other than that, it's just not as effective, and we knew that. I think right out of the gate. Yeah, right out of the gate that hey. What do you want to do? You want to get the premium, you want to optimize the drug by injecting yourself, or are you willing to ingest it, but the results aren't necessarily going to be the exact
and the no dietary restrictions either, whereas if you're on the injectable, there are certain things you can't.
Certain things you can't.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's a trade-off. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, Joey. Okay, let's go on to the next story. Apple opens iPhone ecosystem in Japan. This is not a good story for those who want to maintain the high gross margins for their services business as this starts eating into it. Let's talk about it. Apple announced it will allow alternative app stores on iPhones in Japan to comply with the new legislation there. The change only applies to iPhones, though, not iPads or other Apple devices. Obviously, iPhone, the biggest one. Japanese developers can now, as of today, I believe, launch their own app marketplaces and pay as little as 5% on sales through those alternative app stores. Developers may also offer their own in-app payment systems, but there's a caveat. They also have to offer Apple's right next to it, has to be shown alongside. Apple's going to continue to charge commissions, though. It's not like they're not going to get any money. They're getting 15% instead of 30% for external payment links, and they're going to get 26%, not 30%, for actual App Store, Apple App Store downloads. So they're dropping that from 30% to 4%. That is down from the historical rate, right? They really hadn't been budging on that for as long as I can remember. This is not the same thing, though, as Europe. It's a little different. Unlike Europe, Japan's framework allows Apple to approve or reject alternative marketplaces, which preserves, some gatekeeping authority, but it does reduce the headline revenue risk versus Europe, because Europe just wants them to be completely laissez-faire. They're not laissez-faire themselves, but they want Apple to be laissez-faire. Of course, it erodes Apple's services margins, and Japan also forces Apple, Joey, to open up certain iPhone hardware features to third-party device makers. I couldn't get any more information on that, so I can just read that headline. I'm not really sure what it means.
No, okay, yeah, which one? Let's do this here now, Ramin. All right, guys, I just found something
What'd you find,
crazy.
Joey?
There we go. I'm digging into exchanges and stumbled across BTCC, top 30 globally. But here's the wild part. BTCC has never been hacked. While major exchanges keep getting wrecked, BTCC stays untouched. Zero know your customer if you're in the US, Canada, or Europe. Through Trader TV, you get 100 USDT coupons for registering plus 15% bonus. Thing that covers losses up to, and I don't know why I said 15K USDT. Seriously, what am I missing here? Scan the QR code.
I'm missing anything,
for more info. No, I think it's a smart play by Apple. Why? Because it weakens your competitors at the end of the day, right? So, hey, it's like we don't want you going into another phone's app store or building it on whatever it may be. Come to us. We'll kind of manipulate the rules a little bit so you are building on Apple and you stay within that ecosystem. So I think it's a smart strategic play on Apple's behalf.
All right, DJT just got into the high of the day, guys. 1467, we're holding from 99s. DJ frickin' T. It took forever for this one to clear. Here comes another high of day. Can we get 69 or OZN? No, we reject off 67 again. There's a seller at 67 here on DJT, up 40%. I think he should run for his life because it looks like the longs are in control now. Run for your life, short seller at 67. They're coming for you, baby. Oh, we're dropping down a little bit here, Joey, back into 62. So DJT on the move here. I'm going to continue to hold. So I've got 98s, not 99s on. Let's see if we can get into that $15 area. Good strength here midday for DJT. Seller at 66 now. The seller is moving down. So that should be something that you should be looking at there when you have that incremental level of resistance move down a penny or two. So keep your eye here on DJT. I don't have many shares left. Going to pack the patience, see if I can get a nice move in there on to the high side on this one. Shout out to my man, Dijon Mustard. He's in the trade, first time, my man. Shout out to Dijon Mustard. There's another high a day, Joey. It's 69 now on Donald John Trump. It's 70 now, Joey. Here's the breakout, baby. 70 seller, big size here on Memex. Back into 70 we go. And that's where we're going to take it out at 73 into the high, up 40%. We're spinning the money on this one, man. Boom on DJT. Very happy with this trade. Let's get back to the news. All right, what do we got here, Ram? We got Instacart. They're in trouble. They've annoyed the FTC. This is actually an interesting story here. So reports. There are reports that the U.S. Federal Trade Commission has opened an investigation into the company's pricing practices. I know, right, Fabian? The FTC issued a civil investigation demand, and the agency declined to comment. The FTC declined to comment on any specifics of the investigation, but a recent study showed prices for identical grocery items at the same retailers can vary around 7% on Instacart. So you go in the store, it's $1. You buy it on Instacart, it's $1.07. I'm not even talking about the delivery charges. The price is different between what's offered in the store as a headline price and what's offered on Instacart's website as a headline price. Instacart pushed back. They said, look, The retail partners are the ones that set the price, not us. Why are you blaming us? But in 2022, we know Instacart acquired Eversight for about $60 million. Eversight is an AI-driven pricing and promotions platform, which kind of helps retailers and consumers packaged goods companies. The goal was to create real-time savings opportunity. Its tests are not dynamic or surveilling the prices there. Okay, the U.S. Representative Robert Garcia, he sent a letter to Instacart CEO. He demanded clarity. Lawmakers framed this as algorithmic pricing, Joey. In any event, they have now raised the ire of the FTC, and they're going to get investigation for pricing.
Yeah,
investigated.
It's the same thing on Uber Eats. If you go to the store and look at the app, there's a couple dollar change in some of them. So rightfully so, I think they should be investigated. But I think that's also due to updates. I mean, the prices are ever so changing. I don't know how difficult it will be to update your app consistently. But other than that, Instacart, let's take a look at some of the technicals here, guys. Cart and see what we got going on. Maple Bear. Boom. And see what we have on a daily. Oops, no, this is an hourly. Let's head over to the daily and see what we got going on. We'll remove this. All right, come on now. You can do it. And see what we have from a technical standpoint there on Instacart. Sorry for the lackluster. No, we're good. We're good here. I mean, it hasn't been performing as well as Uber, but isn't horrible, down 17.33%. I think it's interesting that they're obviously going to get that probe into it. I think it's rightfully so, considering that's what I stopped doing, Sharif. I was like, okay, if you're going to order something, I may as well just walk across the street and get it because it saves you a little money at the end of the day.
All right, Dara, what do you think about Instacart?
I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I've done some research to back up my thoughts on this, so let's get into it. So for one, I think we have to talk about the fact that if you actually look at this report and what the FTC said, as well as what Robert Garcia, who is a U.S. House Democrat from California, who sent this letter to Instacart CEO, they have all kind of emphasized that a lot of the reason they're even, trying to look into this is because of that report from last week that Sharif mentioned in his note. I want to talk about this report because this was kind of co-authored by 3 organizations. One of them is Consumer Reports, which is formerly known as the Consumers Union. The other one is More Perfect Union, which is actually a nonprofit. The last one is a policy think tank called Groundwork Collaborative. Now, all of this is to say, all of these organizations, I looked into this, are kind of biased against corporations. That is pretty clear. Janet Yellen even criticized one of them, specifically Groundwork Collaborative, for misattributing a lot of the causes here of inflation and the ways to cause inflation. So I wanted to get into this because I do think it's really important that if we are going to get this investigation, what is it based on? Because I read this report that Robert Garcia and the FTC both kind of cited directly, or in the FTC's case, indirectly, as their reason for wanting to investigate Instacart. So in Instacart's own response to it, they said apparently the findings of this report are accurate with regards to their AI pricing experimentations at 10 partner and grocery retailers. So you ask, how many partner and grocery retailers do they have? As of 2023, over 1,800. So this is a very infinitesimal percentage point of their overall retailers. I do not think this report is a smoking gun that some of these institutions seem to think it is. And furthermore, the fact that specifically Robert Garcia, again, that is the Democrat who sent this letter to the Instacart CEO, he keeps going on about the AI or algorithmic aspect of this. They're only just beginning to experiment with that. Actually, just seeing a headline now, too, on CART, which I want to mention. CART on watch, set to pay $60 million to settle these FTC allegations over the Instacart Plus membership program. I'm going to look more into this to see if this is a different FTC allegation, but either way, CART back in the news here. I'm also seeing that UWMC is halted pending news. That's my thoughts on Instacart. Lots of research, very excited to see how this all unfolds. Back to you.
Expands beyond crypto into a one-stop trading app. Let's talk about this. This is Coinbase's most aggressive move yet to reposition itself as a mainstream financial platform, expanding, yes, well beyond crypto. They're rolling out products aimed, to become a single app for stocks, derivatives, prediction markets, and of course, on-chain finance. We'll talk about that on-chain in a second here. Management says, they've been doing this. They've been developing it internally for months, and they're now fully built, and they're ready to launch it. Here's the deal. They're going to get into stock trading. They're going to get into futures, perpetuals, and prediction markets. With the prediction markets, they're going to tie up with Kalshi. This puts Coinbase obviously in direct competition with the likes of Robinhood as well as some others, IB, KR as the other one that Joseph and I use. And Coinbase outlined, this is kind of really what I liked out of the report, their tokenization roadmap. They're going to start with traditional stock trading for that. They're going to, with a view to, long-term tokenized equities. They want all the equities to be on the blockchain so that people can distribute them, buy and sell them freely. The company launched Coinbase Tokenized to that end, which is going to be an institutional platform aimed at real-world asset tokenization. And they're looking at diversifying. Well, why? Because the crypto market, well, we've seen crypto volumes cool down a little bit here, especially with transaction volumes and transaction margins compressing as they have to drop their price to be in competition with some others here. So Coinbase, Joey, interesting look, and you and I have been talking about this for a while, the tokenization of equities.
Yeah, I think that's big. I mean, with the tokenization, my question to you is, what does that mean? I mean, as soon as a lot of these equities are tokenized, does it even matter if Wall Street is like, hey, we're going 23.5 or whatever, or 24.5 or whatever it is? You can trade it whenever you want anyways if everything's already on the blockchain.
Yeah, but you can send it to people where, like, for example, I know it's not a big deal. I can't send you anything right now.
No, what I'm agreeing with you. So what does it matter if the SEC is like, hey, we're going to change the scheduling if everything is already tokenized where you have access to it 24/7 at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. There have to be some more clarity on the fact is like, okay, you can't transfer equities on Sundays or something along those lines.
You know,
so I think what's that?
To see like whether the bid-ask spread would
How tight? Yeah, the liquidity coming into play.
Because that's the biggest criticism of the 24-hour markets, right? Like the bid-ask spread is going to get
the liquidity. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting.
Fair enough. You know what's funny, Sharif? I find it funny. I don't know why they say trading volumes cool down when we're selling. Like, look at the volume pickup as soon as we started selling in Bitcoin. So I think that's more transactions. I think in bear markets, there's going to be more transactions, and I think we've seen in the likes of Robinhood with their previous report as well too. But I think one thing that's really important to note is this space starting to get a little too flooded.
Like the brokerage space?
Yeah, exactly, right? Because think about it, you have the Weebles now, you have the IBKRs, you have is it SoFi a broker?
They're trying
to be. You have the Robinhoods, you have the TD Ameritrades, you have the Schwabs and everything along those lines. So it's like, hey,
good point.
It's a pretty flooded space, and who's going to come out on top? And what is it that is going to make them come out on top? Is it going to be commissions, right? So, like, what is going on that front? Because there will be a leader. Who do I think that is right now? I think Robinhood has the slight edge, right? Because they were the first ones to tokenize in the private space, in Europe, that is. So I think that's a good starting point for them to start doing that here before some of these bigger names start to go public. And that can give them a solid lead in this race. But a lot going on with, we know Coinbase has been getting hit as of late as well.
It's been getting hit,
So.
All right, let's go on.
One last thing. Do we think that this kind of decouples the correlation between Coinbase and Bitcoin if they start to trade equities as well?
Oh, yeah, you have to assume there's going to be a little bit of a decorrelation there because, well, I mean, if they're not strictly crypto volume and crypto trading focused, yeah, for sure. That doesn't look very good on Bitcoin. Is that Coinbase?
This is Coinbase. You're down 44%.
That's looking like the flat bottom break.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lululemon, man. Elliott Management, we all know them as an activist investor. They took a stake in Lulu. So activist investor Elliott Management has accumulated over $1 billion of Lululemon shares. That makes it one of the company's largest shareholders. This move signals, of course, their aggressive push to influence strategy as well as leadership with, Lulu brand in some trouble as of late. Let's talk about this. Elliott has been working for months, though, to try to find a suitable replacement for the outgoing CEO. And they've been speaking with this woman named Jane Nielsen. She is the former CFO and COO of Ralph Lauren, and they view her as a very good potential CEO candidate. Lulu confirmed last week that CEO Calvin McDonald will step down in January after 7 years at the helm without naming a successor. And this lack of clear transition plan increases the likelihood that there could be a contentious and very expensive board fight, and we know Elliott does not shy away from those board fights. The founder as well of Lululemon, a dude by the name of, where's his name, Chip Wilson, he actually blasted the previous CEO as well as the board, and he says, look, we need new the founder and largest shareholders, Chip Wilson's publicly called for an urgent CEO search led by new independent
please,
directors.
Marijuana News.
Wilson also blamed McDonald as well as the board for what he called strategic missteps and the company's prolonged stock underperformance. And we know as well, Elliott's involvement mirrors their recent past activism in the likes of Pepsi and the likes of Phillips 66, which is reinforcing their willingness to push for that operational and leadership change. We're going to pause for a second. We're going to get news from Adara, and Adara, please comment on this one as well.
Yeah, sounds good. I have a couple pieces of news to mention here. MSOS, I'm seeing more reports here. Apparently, marijuana will remain illegal to possess under federal law, according to a senior administration official, saying that there is currently insufficient evidence of marijuana's medical uses and that the Trump order that would be coming out makes no changes to criminal penalties or access for recreational use of marijuana. Now, apparently, this executive order is just going to be directing the Attorney General at the DOJ to expedite reclassification of marijuana. So they're not going to be reclassifying it right away. They're just going to expedite this reclassification. Apparently, Trump himself saying that the order will not legalize marijuana in any way and that the order is not, I will repeat, legalization. I'm going to keep looking into this, but I also want to mention PANW for you as well. Sam Altman saying that he and his team at OpenAI are beginning to explore trusted access programs for defensive cybersecurity work. So with that in mind, PANW moving a bit. CrowdStrike did not really move on this. But again, I'm going to keep an eye here on this executive order stuff, and I'll give you guys more comments when I have more to say on that, more information. I want to talk, though, about Lululemon. Because you guys know me, I will focus on, the tiny little aspect of a story that I find interesting. What I find interesting about this story is Jane Nielsen. Jane Nielsen is the woman that reportedly, according to this WSJ story, Elliott Management is trying to work with to make her the new CEO of Lululemon. So this is kind of interesting because, I guess with Lululemon versus Ralph Lauren, you do have that sort of high-end retail experience. She was there for 9 years. You guys know how I feel about CEO hopping. She has not done that. She's kind of stayed at the company, but she also does not have a CEO position to her name, which isn't in and of itself a bad thing, but it is interesting because the role of CFO, she served now 3 times, once at Coach for 5 years, and then, and this is what I really want to talk about, she was the CFO at different divisions of Pepsi, on and off for almost 17 years. Now, why is this significant? Because you might remember, Elliott Management was recently involved in Pepsi. Now, I can obviously not prove any kind of cahooting here, but I do think it is interesting that now we've got, again, Jane Nielsen was involved at Pepsi for many a year, literally almost 2 decades. Now, apparently, she's in talks with Elliott here for this Lululemon role. I'm going to look more into this. Obviously, a lot of this is just kind of my thoughts right now, but this is a pretty interesting story here, and I want to see what kind of unfolds from this. I'm not sure if she'd be the right CEO for Lululemon with this kind of pedigree. Again, no CEO background and also no athletic apparel background. We're going to have to wait and find out what happens here. I kind of wonder if Lulu's going to go with an internal hire, but I do kind of find it hilarious that they announced, along with their earnings, their succession plan that included no succession plan. Back to you. I'm going to look more into this cannabis story, guys.
Yeah, give us your take, Joey.
I think it's interesting. I think you also know where I stand in the retail space. I think it's best for Lululemon to start to kind of switch over into that online e-commerce presence, brick and mortar, opening up new stores. What we're seeing in the stock right now, and we're seeing it across a lot of the names, whether it be American Eagle, Abercrombie and Fitch.
Yeah.
I think this is a little bit of a Christmas rally. What's going on and what's going to happen in the coming months is obviously yet to be told. I think that Lululemon might be in a little bit of trouble because the ever so revolving door of the athleisure wear is definitely here. It's either Aloe, Gymshark, whatever it may be. So one day you're hot, the next day you're not. As for the CEO, I think they have a new CEO. I think they have a lot of work because the stock has been down substantially off of its previous pivot high, down more than 40%, 50%.
50%. Trump media to merge with fusion power firm Tay. That's why DJT is up 40% today. So DJT agreed to merge with Tay Technologies in an all-stock transaction, valuing it at over $6 billion. Shareholders of each company They're going to own about 50% of the combined entity, and it's expected to close in mid-26. Devin Nunes, that's the chairman and CEO of Trump Media. He's going to become a co-CEO of the new company, sharing leadership with Michelle Beinbauer, who's the current CEO of TAE Technologies. So they focus on fusion power, which is, kind of the electric power. They focus on fusion power, electric vehicle power management, and targeted cancer treatments. It positions DJT, of course, beyond the current scope of their company right now, which is social media, and it has exposure to clean energy and advanced sciences. Fusion does, though, kind of remain that long-dated, capital-intensive future outlook for energy generation, is widely anticipated to be the main energy generation source for the next half of this century, but not quite there yet. I do follow this from time to time, and I think that they actually just got net positive, meaning that the amount of energy that they use to create fusion, which is the way that the sun creates energy, actually produced more energy than was required in the intake process. So that was a milestone that they reached. I think it was MIT or Harvard or something like that. But still very much a science experiment and not available or not ready for market yet. DJT was up 31% in the pre-market. It is up over 40% now, 1478 high. Joey, what do you make of this?
Is this thing in the meme ETF? If it's not, it should be.
A meme ETF? Yeah,
it should be. It should be, right?
I have no idea.
No, I'm not. Well, that's my question. Like, is DJT in the meme ETF? Who was just recently implemented into that? I mean, this stock is a little bit tougher to trade. I know that it's in play today here, guys. You get a nice little gap up from $10, which was roughly around the lows, or $11 or so, and you're continuing to climb to the top side. But if we go back, I mean, this thing is tough, right? Whether it be Trump Coin, DJT, 81%. I don't know if this stock will ever recover back to those previous levels and highs of around $70 to $80.
YouTube secures exclusive Oscar streaming rights, not right away. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, they signed an exclusive deal with YouTube, of course, owned by Alphabet, to stream the Oscars from 2029 to 2033. The agreement begins on the 101st Academy Awards, so they won't get that inaugural 101, but at least they got something. No, this is going to be available on YouTube TV subscribers in the US, but it's going to be free globally on YouTube for international viewers, and it's going to include the red carpet events, behind the scenes content, access to the governor's ball, all things I just absolutely do not care about. The deal significantly broadens the reach compared to legacy TV. And then Disney and ABC, they're going to retain domestic broadcast rights through 28, which means that they get the 100th anniversary of the Oscars. International distribution is going to remain, though, Joey, under Disney's Buena Vista International through the current contract.
Come to me, please, news.
You like this? I mean, I personally don't give what about the Oscars or anything related with Hollywood, but I like the fact that they're diversifying away from just that regular, broadcast TV stuff.
Okay, let's go to Adair. We'll come back because I think there's some interesting points to be made here with YouTube.
Why CBD holding here and actually pushing higher prior to that hold? We do have comments coming from the Administrator for Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. That is, of course, Dr. Mehmet Oz. He's saying that millions of Americans on Medicare are going to become eligible to receive CBD as early as April 2026. So CBD really being emphasized here in this executive order. Again, as I mentioned, the executive order does push for more research and specifically more for more access to CBD. It also directs the Attorney General to fast track the rescheduling of marijuana to Schedule 3, though Trump did emphasize this in no way makes marijuana legal. Back to you.
Ram, check your chat, please.
So this,
I turned it off.
never mind the Oscars, whatever's going on with that stuff, because you and I could care less about it.
No.
But what we haven't seen from YouTube is that they haven't been bidding on these sports contracts.
No, they haven't.
Do you think that that's a good strategic move, considering that Paramount Plus paying out the wazoo for the UFC deal? You have the NBA deals that are just continuously growing with Amazon. You have the NFL deals that are growing. NHL starting to play catch up as well, too. Do you think that's a good move by the parent company, Alphabet, and YouTube to not be going after these sports rights, or do you think that it's going to hurt them in the long run?
Okay, so I'm going to say face value, not a good idea, unless there is some sort of other plan to become niche in something else. In this case, I mean, it may be something to do with Hollywood. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But offhand, no, because sports events keeps growing. We see the purses growing. We see the amount of users growing. We see basically all the redistribution of content in shorter form all over the internet growing. So I do agree with you. Sports definitely, and streaming sports specifically, definitely a growing market. Probably makes sense for Google to jump into that bandwagon.
Eventually.
But at the same time, you know, you've got some competitors there. You got Apple with the MLS. I know that contract's expiring, but you saw what Amazon did to TNT and TBS. You know, they outbid them.
Outbid them, yeah.
But I don't think Amazon's bigger.
So
that
that's what
much
I'm
as
thinking.
Google.
Like, it's like, hey, could this be kind of a capital preservation, or is it going to hurt them in the long run, not getting involved with the sports? Because it's really, those NBA deals, I think it was like, I don't even know the numbers, like $70 billion or something.
I don't know if it's capital preservation as like their main motive, or other, you know, aside from.
It's not like they're cash strapped or anything along those lines, but the deals cost.
It just
quite
might
a
not
bit.
be what they want to focus on. And so that's what I'm trying to say. If they chose to get into sports, I think it would make sense. But if the company's chosen to find something else as its niche, then how about it? And it's not cheap, by the way. Have you seen what YouTube TV costs in the States? Like almost $100.
Yeah.
So it's not cheap. Certainly not cheap. All right, let's go on to the next story. What do we got over here? Birkenstock, solid quarter. Burke's down big, I think, in the pre-market. It was down like double digits. 8%, it's off the lows. It dropped all the way to 39.50. It's up to 42.60. EPS 60 euros, whatever, 60 penny euros. I don't know how you even call that. Estimates were 0.4. I'll just call it 0.6 euro. Estimates were 0.4. Quarterly revenue coming in at $615 million. It's a 15% year-over-year increase, and it beats the street's expectations. Their America's revenue grew 11%. Europe grew 16%. APAC grew 33, excuse me, so they had their biggest move there. Revenue rose double digits across all segments, with gross margins, though, declining 90 basis points, now below 60% at 58.1. They've opened 30 new retail stores, and now that brings their total to 97 locations globally. They also are pushing DTC, direct to consumers, and with their APAC share for DTC rising 120 basis points up to 11%. They also guided pretty poorly here, though. That's why they sold off aggressively here. Joey, what do you make of Burke?
Yeah, Burke, I mean, inception 2023 here in the overall market. I mean, you open up around, let's get a little bit more detail here for you guys. On the first day of trading, you open up around $40. So 3 years, you're essentially right back where you were, Sharif. We have a previous high of around $64, down 33% from that specific zone. So, I mean, it's been 3 years of dead money here in Birkenstock Holdings. So not the best look, if you ask me.
All right, guys, that concludes the news segment. The other stuff, not really that important. So we're going to bring you back to the main trades on the day, DJT. It's at highs. It's trading at highs, 1478 high. It's at 1467. It's a good look right now. It's Ramin, screen, please. It's holding the 10 EMA on the 5, guys. All the dip trades, I'm talking about that 145 candle as well as the current 155 candle, all finding support at the 10 EMA. So this could be a bull flag continuation. Look for a break in 15. Coming soon as well. We took out pre-market highs, which were about 1470, 1469. So a great look right now for DJT. We're going to be keeping an eye on that one into the afternoon. David, dropping cash in the chat, 20 big ones. Hope you woolly bulls have a good day. D-Trade, DJT, no soup past 1475. It's got 1478 high, my man. Year-to-date record today, kept car insurance scammer on phone 16 minutes. They Googled John Voight's 80s Chrysler LeBaron and hung up. That's amazing. Word up, Joel Riffs. All right, man. That's a whole lot there, but the John Voight thing and the LeBaron. You bought a LeBaron? Anybody who knows Seinfeld knows exactly about that. A LeBaron, and a convertible one at that. Shout out to Big Larry Ellerson in the chat. He's dropping 5 in the chat. We wouldn't touch Sydney Sweeney with a 10-foot pole, right? Joe, Sharif, Look, man, I can like a person from Hollywood and not like Hollywood. What is going on here? Like, am I supposed to dislike everybody in Hollywood? Yeah. But your point well taken. Yeah. Thank you very much for the $5 super chat, Big Larry Ellison. And shout out to Sydney Sweeney for making me some money.
Oh, she got a new movie out there.
Got a new. I saw the boxing one.
No, not that one. A different one.
Oh, with the girl from Mean Girls.
Who's that?
The blonde girl from Mean Girls. I don't know.
Blake Lively.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either, man. We're talking the wrong book here, Sharif. We're gonna
girl from Mean Girls, bro. I
don't know Mean Girls, bro.
You don't know Mean Girls?
No, I don't know Mean Girls, man.
Rachel
I don't know her
McAdams?
name, but anyway, yeah, she was like
Who's Rachel McAdams?
the airhead in no, not Rachel McAdams.
Okay.
Rachel McAdams was the mean one. She was. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, all right. I appreciate it. I have no idea.
Not Lindsay Lohan either, guys. The other one. So not Rachel McAdams, not Lindsay Lohan. Who? Regina George. That's Rachel McAdams. Yeah, that's Rachel McAdams. All right, guys.
All right,
it is 2:02.
This is how we're sending it off right here, Sharif. For our guy, your Huckleberry. We're gonna send over to the big boys now. Oh.
That way, Ram.
Welcome, welcome everybody. I'm still trying to figure out why are we talking about Mean Girls? What did we